everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
Cruiser 5 to 50 feet by the County Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get to the Capitol.
Publicists, when you talk to your publicists, you know the first thing they tell you? What? Stay away from religion, stay away from politics.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
No matter what the you say, somebody passionately disagrees with you.
Absolutely.
No matter what religion, you believe in Allah, then you're saying that's not the right way. You believe in every Christianity, that's not it, because they're choosing something different. Your political party, the Democrat, Republican, the disagreement completely.
Yup.
So I stay away from it. When I get pulled into politics, I go, and I have nothing to say. I'm just
the same way we are. We don't no politics, none of this.
With that. Like, I don't stay there because I'm still entertainment. If it's not music, then it's film and television, but it's still entertainment. So why would you turn someone off by saying that?
Right.
I want everybody to enjoy what I'm doing.
Right.
Not just a selective few amount of people. I focus on diversity because it's needed.
Right.
The boxing scholar is a lover, not a fighter, but he's also a fighter, so don't get any ideas. If he pats you on the back, you'll put it in your resume. His enemy. Have him listed as an emergency contact. The scholar has an inside joke with complete strangers. If he punched you in the face, you'd have to fight the urge not to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He's the only man alive to is parallel park. A train is count to infinity twice. In Genesis, when God said, "Let there be light," the scholars said, "Say pretty please." He is the genius of all genius and master of all masters.
And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you're in someone else's.
It's the motherfucking genius of all motherfucking genius, master of all goddamn masters, man. What's up? Oh, man, I had to keep changing the time. I had an assignment due. But neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. We here. You know what I mean? So now that we here, it's only right that I be fair. So check this out. A couple things been going on in boxing. The guy that knocked out Tszyu done called out fucking Fandor's food for that guy. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. That guy, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to butcher it. That motherfucker's a beast. People should stay away from that guy. This guy's dangerous. Y'all know I'm not one to give credit where credit is not due. That guy's dangerous. You know, now granted, Tszyu did fight the wrong fight, stayed in front of him, kept pressing a puncher, you know, following a puncher around, stalking him, which is equivalent, you know, of a fucking cheetah, I guess, stalking a lion, or, you know what I mean? A predator stalking another predator. You know what I mean? Just the other one's just more apex, you know, following a guy around, and then he ended up getting exactly what he got, following the puncher around. You know, it's neither here nor there. But so he might have, I sounded to say he might have potential flaws that could be exploited, because we ain't seen him. We just seen him go into a fight where we thought Tszyu was expected to win, and the other guy, bam, you know what I mean? Gets hit with a shot. What's up, Press? He says, slow boxing day, ain't it, Scholar? Yeah, that's what, Press, you know what I do, bro? I go through the internet and I scour through, and I save boxing videos to react to later, so that for days like this, where ain't nothing really popping, you know what I mean? And ain't no expert says, sources say type shit going on. So I save it for days like this where I can just shoot the shits on random topics like, the one that's with Bud. You know what I mean? Bud talk about Shakur and Tank need to fight on his undercard, which I'm in favor of. I don't know about everybody else, but I would think that would be an amazing fucking card. I think you remember when Turkey announced that card that had Schofield and all those guys on it, and everybody was like, "This is gonna be the best boxing card of all time." They get that fucking card together. It don't even matter the other fights. I'm just being honest with you. Shakur and Tank, you know what I mean? You got an explosive guy, and then you got what people say runner, boxing guy, whatever the fuck it may be. Fucking what you call it? What's his name? What they call it? Shakur Twitterson. Whatever name, derogatory name they want to come up with him. His style should be canceled out by Tank's. Because Tank is a big, strong puncher. You know what I mean? And he got the boxer. Those always make for great fights. Arthur Beterbiev and what you call it just gave us that type of style matchup. Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol. You know what I mean? So we will be able to see it again. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm here for it, press. If that card happens, but Bud gotta chill out. You know what Bud say? Yo, you gotta chill out because shit get real sticky real quick. When Bud is up there talking about that. When Bud is up there talking about, fighting on his card, it's like, Bud, your name is featured on the card, brother, but it's not your card. It's definitely a Canelo card, brother. We're not finna be naive about this shit. That is a Canelo card that you are just featuring. You're a feature. You know what I mean? He the main star. He said, who you mean? That Russian dude? Said he trashed. I don't know what he is. Press. I don't know if he's from Russia. I'm talking about the dude that knocked out Tszyu. He ain't never been defeated. And then he knocked out Tszyu in devastating fashion. I don't know. That dude ain't trash. Listen, not to say, and that's what I'm trying to say. I don't get carried away with power because it makes you overrate a guy. So I look deep, but it wasn't enough. He didn't show me enough. Tszyu actually had moments in that spot where, believe it or not, where he had success. So I wouldn't just throw caution to the wind and say nobody at this division, because that's the most competitive division in boxing. And styles make fights. So I don't know that he beats everybody. I know he got a puncher's chance. I do know that much. I'll pause it. What you think about the Jolly Green Giant Fandora? You think he got a chance against that dude that knocked out Tszyu?
He got a chance, but if he gets hit, you know what's gonna happen.
But he gonna get hit. He always in the inside.
Yeah, I know.
He can't help himself. And we talk. Look, George Foreman, the great legend, just passed away. I know that when he look in the mirror, he don't see Fandora. You know who he see? George Foreman. He sees George Foreman. He think, I seen him when he got that dude hurt the other day. I got him. And he listen. Granted, he did get him out of there. But it's just like, brother, that's not you. I mean, look,
he's already overachieved, man. I didn't think he'd ever become a champion yet, let alone a unified champ. He's already overachieved.
Did I just hear my brother All Positive give a participation trophy?
No, he beat Tim. I mean, I think the elbow with the cut really hurt Tszyu a lot in that fight. But he's like I said, he came back after he got knocked out, stretched out. It was a very bad knockout too. But he came back after that, and he's become a unified champ. So it's a possibility he could actually become undisputed. Then it's a good possibility. All I know is these guys better be happy that Canelo offered that fight to Jamil Charlo, because he will be ruling. If he didn't get cash out with that payday, he'd be ruling 154 right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Okay, I can hear you loud now. I don't know what the fuck was going on before. What's up, Smokey? Smokey said Bud will shock the world. How you feel about that, All Positive?
I feel about, man, these guys talking all this stuff about Bud shocking the world. They gonna disappear. There's one, two things gonna happen. They're gonna disappear. Most of them, 25% of them are gonna change their screen names, and the other 75% gonna make excuses. And the excuses are gonna be, well, Bud challenged himself. He tried to be dare to be great. You got to give him credit. Now Canelo needs to fight Benavidez. That's one excuse. Next excuse is gonna be, well, it wasn't a catch weight. That's not fair. Hey, it wasn't no rehydration clause. That's not fair. Canelo came in the ring weighing 250 pounds. Third excuse is gonna be, well, Canelo aged him out. It's gonna be excuses, man. You know it's gonna be excuses. But under no circumstances, under no way I see Bud winning this fight. Under no circumstance. Because he's already down on the scorecards right now. And it's months out from the fight. Canelo's already up 4 rounds to nothing right now. Only Bud win this fight, he's gonna have to knock him out. And I don't see that happening.
Wow. What long list you have, brother. What long list you have.
You don't think it's going to be excuses?
Listen, brother, I have faith in these Bud fans that they going to call it right down the middle, exactly how it is. I have faith in them, brother. Let he who is without first sin all positive.
So,
throweth the first rock.
The guy just said, Bevo crushed him, now Crawford will. So you're under an impression that I'm under the impression that you think that Crawford can go to 175 and beat those guys there too. Because that's the problem with the Bud fans. It's like when you ask them, like, well, can Crawford beat this guy? No, this guy's too big. But how's Canelo not too big if he fights at the same weight classes as these guys? We know what it is, man. We know it's a cash out.
And then where does it stop after Canelo? Let's say he beats Canelo. Let's say by some luck of the draw, Turkey Al-Rashid is Bud is his favorite. Well, I ain't gonna say his favorite fighter, but he do show favoritism to Bud. Maybe he might put the fix in.
Bud's about 40 years old, man. He's about 40. And people like to bring up Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins didn't get hit a lot. Bernard Hopkins did not start getting hit until he was in his mid-40s in fights. And even then, we like, dang, like, we didn't know this guy's chin was that good. Like, but like said, Bernard was in his 40s, he moved up and fought Tarver. Tarver never landed a flush punch on Bernard. Styles make fights. Styles and Crawford don't fight like Tarver. And I mean, Crawford don't fight like Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins is not going to take a punch to land his. And they're not even remotely the same type of fighter, man. And for to beat Canelo, you got to be a mover. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a mover. Crawford don't fight like that. Crawford's not a stick and move type guy. Crawford's a guy, he's going to take the fight to you. He like to lay on the ropes. He's going to take the fight to you. Even when he knocked Errol Spence, when he knocked him down, he was on the ropes. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy he like to go to the ropes and all that stuff, but yeah, it's gonna end bad. I just don't want him to get hurt, but it's definitely.
Damn, Press said Bud need to know his place. Press, you gotta let that spin stoppage go, brother. Said Canelo is a bum. They've all crushed him, and now Crawford will. Yeah, Biz, you done lost your damn mind, brother. Canelo's a bum. Look, listen. Now, one thing you'll never get a shortage over here is of Canelo criticism. Canelo wants easy fights at this point in his career.
We know that.
If Canelo is ducking Benavidez and he chose to fight Crawford, and we all admit that Canelo is ducking, what do you think how do you think Canelo views this fight? How do you think he views Bud as a real contender or a real threat to his crown? He would have never took the fight if he thought he was a real threat, because Benavidez is a real threat. He's going to listen and look. Shout out to my boy Smoking. Hopefully, we can all meet up in Vegas. You know what I mean, at this fight. But Smoking, I watched some film today, and it just made me even more in doubt what I already knew. The certainty became more certain. I watched Bud in his fight against Benavidez, and Benavidez wasn't that good. And he was still able to tag Bud, and Bud kind of struggled in that fight. Even sometimes Bud would punch, he'd be on his tippy toes, and I'm like, that's a more prime Bud. And that Bud, was struggling. Let's be all the way honest, struggling with that guy. It's the same guy that Danny Garcia beat. He was struggling with that guy. So I just look at it like, damn, he was more in his prime then. He's more out of his prime now. He's letting Canelo, go get the other belt. He think Canelo doing the heavy lifting with him. From a gambling and a poker point of view, this is genius. Let the guy go do the heavy lifting for you. You got one fight in you, one fight you can get up for. Make that fight happen. Put everything into that fight. If you win, you're one of the GOATs. At least top 5 all time. If you lose, they're gonna make excuses for you, like All Positive said. I get the chess move. I just don't think he could do it. I don't think he could pull it off. I don't think sitting around while Canelo goes and gets another belt, another fight in between, so he could be sharp, is gonna be good for Terrence Bud Crawford. I think him sitting around is going, an older guy. What happens when the older guy, any guy sitting around starts to rust? That's what ring rust is, right? Yep. An older guy is not going to get better by sitting out. Bernard Hopkins, in his older age, was fighting frequently.
In his old age, fighting frequently. But he fought Spence in summer 2003. It's going on summer. Buzz had 2 fights in 2 years. Right now.
Oh, and another thing, I'm positive. I went back and watched the Masvidal fight. Oh my God, I was so disappointed. So in the Masvidal fights, let's go down memory lane. For those of us who got short-term memory or whatever, recency biases, or I don't know what, minute focus. I don't know. Let's go back, right? If we go back a little bit, you remember when Terrence Bud Crawford dismantled Errol Spence. Dismantled him. It was really funny because I went on a Buzz binge. I was watching all the Buzz fights. I went and watched Gamboa. Gamboa, coming up from a lighter weight, gave Bud more hell than Spence. That is fucking insane when you think about it. Listen, as many excuses as they made for him, the car crash, all this stuff, a smaller guy coming up in weight gave Bud a harder fight and even had Bud wobbled. And Errol Spence was almost stopped and knocked down in the second round. Like, I just facepalmed, like, holy shit. And here, let me tell you the ironic part about it, let me tell you how crazy people is. Because we still having Bud versus Spence resume talk, right? See how crazy people is, positive. Terrence Bud Crawford beat Gamboa. And the excuse was Gamboa was a smaller guy. He was a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Right? But let's see, because I'm positive a historian, right? Who did they want Gamboa to fight before he went to fight Bud?
Lomachenko.
Not just him. What's the other guy?
I don't know, who was it? Remind me.
Mikey Garcia.
Oh yeah, Mike Garcia. Yeah. And
who did Errol Spence fight?
And
Mike couldn't Garcia. Stop.
And they
that's what I'm saying, bro. They
for the Lomachenko too. They that's the fight they tried to get, and then that didn't happen. And I knew Garcia was going to get beat up, and everybody's like, oh, man, it was so many legends picking Garcia to beat Spence. I'm like, yo, I like both Garcia and Spence, but I was just concerned about Garcia's health. I don't want to see him get hurt. That's what I'm thinking about the fight. I was scared because I knew the outcome of the fight, but I just didn't want Garcia to get hurt. Yeah, and if you watch the fight, by the 10th round, his brother threatened to throw in the towel. He told him, I think what round it was. I think it was a 10. He's like, if I see another round like that, I'm gonna stop it. He was really
the sad part about it is Errol Spence couldn't get that guy out of there. That's the sad part. And Bud is a smaller guy than Errol Spence, and took out Gamboa. And they said, oh, well, Gamboa was too small. Well, why Mikey Garcia wasn't small, and then he didn't even get stopped. Like I said, the writing was on the wall, but they don't got no consistency. So anyway, I looked at that fight. That was peak Bud, and he was doing a lot of, I ain't gonna say rock and soccer, but he stood his ground a lot in that fight, drew a line in the sand and started banging, guard down sometimes, holes in his defense, whatever the case may be. And like I said, I remember in the Sean Porter fight, they asked him, Bud, why do you choose the slug when you could box? He said, because I love this shit. And I'm just like, okay, let's put shit in perspective. Now, one thing I never let nobody do on the internet is play with Terrence Bud Crawford name, because I feel like they play around with it too much. The man is great. There's no doubt about that. He's a great fighter, right? And he's earned it. He's earned for us to talk good about him. You know what I mean? Like too much in boxing, we criticize the guys that's not supposed to be criticized, and they like he's only been a good role model outside the ring. No scandals, stay in shape all year long. No blowing up in between fight. He do all the things. He treat boxing right. What they always say, boxing is like a jealous girlfriend. He treat that bitch right. You know what I mean? And people still criticize him. So one thing I'll never do is let nobody play with his name. But one thing I do over here is be honest. He's an older guy. And if you look at his fight from fight to fight, his legs are not the same. Listen, we idolize Michael Jordan. We wear his shoes. Michael Jordan had to adjust his game to a fadeaway because he couldn't jump out the gym anymore. It's a natural progression with age. You can't do the things that you, when you're older, that you could do when you're younger. Simple. You can even do it from year to year. I remember all positive when I was 12 years old, I can go to sleep on the floor, wake up nothing. The next year, I woke up with like crooks in my neck and shit. So like if that changed when I was young and from year to year, then just imagine on a bigger scale when you're taking punishment. Like boxing is punishment. There's no way around that. It's punishment. You take it, you're punishing your body to get in physical condition to take punishment. And then after the fight, you take more punishment to your next fight. It's just nothing but punishment. You know what I mean? That's why Mike Tyson always say it's boxing. It's going to take much more from you than it'll ever give to you. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the sacrifices you make in the ring, out of the ring, and then you're sacrificing your body. It's literally what he's talking about. So we take all these factors and we say, older guy. You know what I mean? I think his legs are gone. I'm pretty sure his legs are gone. Ain't no think. His legs are gone. He don't have the same legs. So how does that fight go? Bud already has the mentality of standing in front of a guy drawing a line in the sand. He's going to do that against Canelo. Who is going to be bad for? Hey, that's up to God in the country. You know what I mean? And them two fighters in the ring. I don't know.
Man,
you never know.
Apparently, these Crawford fans, they know something about Canelo's chin that we don't know. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I ain't never seen them get rocked, but maybe they have.
And you know what? Like I said, going on the Bud binge watch, it showed me a lot. Bud with the dreads was fucking absolute beast, you know. I remember catching a glimpse of that, but he didn't make my radar yet. He made my radar fully whenever he went in and dismantled Gamboa. And that's because I remember Gamboa was that guy. I remember 50 Cent and Floyd, that was going to be their first fighter on that promotional company. So Floyd even thought he had talent. That was going to be the guy. And, you know, Bud derailed that train. He was never the same. You know what's crazy? Let me tell you what's crazy. I just thought about this. They will discredit Terrence Bud Crawford for knocking out an undefeated Gamboa, but will say Tank's resume is a good resume. And he fought him probably like 6-7 years later. An older, worn down version of that, bro. That is the craziest shit in the world. I thought about that in real time just now. I was like, damn, bro, the hypocrisy is just crazy. But so I say this, Canelo and Bud is gonna be an interesting matchup for me as far as a strategic, because I don't know how Canelo's gonna approach this either. I don't know if Canelo's gonna take him lightly, not really train, because he's looking at Bud like a cherry pick. If he gets upset, it'll be like all positive say a cherry pick gone wrong. But I just don't know how he's gonna approach the fight. I know what Bud's gonna do. Bud's gonna try to work angles. He's gonna try to draw a line in the sand and establish his respect early on. And he's gonna try to maintain it so that he can make the fight easier for himself and bullshit Canelo when he's hurt. That's what he did against Masvidal. Masvidal hurt him a lot of times in that fight, but he was able to bullshit his way and use his experience to get past those moments and weather the storm and then pull it out in the later rounds, you know.
They're not gonna work Canelo if he gets you hurt.
But see, I don't know that that's true. Canelo ain't had a knockout since fucking Janet Jackson got showed her titties at the Super Bowl.
Okay, just like he didn't knock out Berlanga, he didn't knock out Munguia, but those are the big guys too. You think Bud can take the punishment that those guys took? Coming up from 140, practically 147. He had one fight at 154. You think this guy coming up 3 weight classes, technically 3 weight classes, can take the punishment that Munguia and Berlanga took?
I think that if we're going to acknowledge Bud's age, we have to acknowledge Canelo's age.
Yeah.
And one thing that happens with older fighters is they get more conservative. You know, like if they get in their ass whooped, they be like, why am I getting my ass whooped? I got $5 million from this fight. Got kids, you got everything to live for. This they start to lose their desire to fight. And I think Canelo is losing his desire to get into a fight. Maybe not to fight, but to get into a fight, meaning a back and forth scrap. Triple G right now, it like would fuck him up. I think even in his old age.
Oh, Canelo?
I think he'd fuck him up.
Oh, man. The last fight, man.
The last fight, Triple G started coming on at the end because Canelo took his foot off the gas.
Man, Triple G would never beat Canelo again.
He fucked Canelo up, bro.
Never. That would never be competitive.
Bro, he fucked Canelo up, bro.
No.
Man, I wouldn't lie to you.
He's in his 40s. He's in his 40s. He ain't fought in like 2-3 years. I wouldn't even favor Triple G over Bud right now. Like, yo, he's done. He's completely washed. Yeah, well, you're right. He took his foot off the gas because he should have stopped him in the last fight. Well, nobody ever stopped him, so he shouldn't have stopped him. But he shouldn't. He had so many rounds in the bag. I guess he was like, you know what, it's in the bag, and I'm gonna just take the rest of the fight off. The fight was over with.
Can you hear me?
Well, now you keep going on mute. What's going on?
It ain't that. I got this in the background, so if I do something else, it'll sometimes shut it off. I guess it depends on the app to get priority over the other app. But I had to clear out my ears for a second. Did you say Triple G couldn't beat Bud?
Not right now. Triple G, man, Derenchenko years ago beat Triple G 8-4 when they robbed him. He won these 8 rounds against him. I mean, he's washed, man. I mean, it'll be a good fight because, like I said, Triple G still hits hard. Bud couldn't hurt him. I don't know, but if Bud stand and trade with him trying to knock him out, yeah, he stretches Bud out. But if Bud, showing angles, yeah, he could beat Triple G in a decision. He ain't gonna knock him out.
That's what I thought you said. You must be out your goddamn mind. Let me tell you something. Triple G would destroy Bud. He would hit Bud and disintegrate every bone in his body. So what you asked me a while ago is, could Bud take what Canelo's throwing? I guarantee he can't take what Triple G's throwing.
I know he can. I know he can't take that.
That's crazy. He can't even beat Janabek. And Triple G would destroy Janabek.
I've been saying for a while he couldn't beat Janabek, but a lot of people disagree. I don't know why, but yeah, I said he couldn't beat Janabek. Yeah. A lot of people don't even know who Janabek is. When I mention Janabek, they're like, we don't even know who that is. I'm like, well, that's your problem. That's not my problem. Like, you don't know what it is, you shouldn't be commenting.
So this is what I will say. Because the point I was bringing that up about Canelo is that he don't got that killer in him. You know what I mean? If we're gonna acknowledge Bud's legs, you know what I mean? Not being there, that we got to acknowledge that Canelo's desire to get his opponent out. He don't got it. And we seen this before. You remember with Manny Pacquiao? We seen Manny Pacquiao, you know what I mean, destroy fighters. And then, when he got to a certain point, when he said, Fede Roche, I got to get my killer instinct back. And yeah, we've been working hard on the stoppage and get the killer instinct. And because you lose it. You lose it. You don't want to fucking go out there and hurt a guy after you done knocked out 50 guys and got a fucking $50 million in the bank. That shit is hard to do. It's hard to motivate yourself. So it's like, yeah, man, like, what the fuck? Yeah. Canelo at this point, he's where Manny Pacquiao was when he was on his spiritual shit. You know what's really funny? Freddie Roach said, how positive, that Manny Pacquiao should go back out there and cheat on his wife because he was a much better fighter what he did.
Well,
he said that he got, whenever he found religion and started being faithful to his wife. that he became less of a fighter. That is fucking hilarious. That man was out there cheering for adultery. That's fucking hilarious, though. Because Manny Pacquiao had some kids out of wedlock and everything. Manny Pacquiao was out there spreading that Filipina seed.
That's what this trainer, his old school. I forgot his name, but he was one of Frankie Randall's trainers in his corner. But he's like Frankie Randall. He only fought good because he was an alcoholic. So he only fought good when he drank. He's like, they was at a casino one night, and he said one of the guys, he came to him. He's like, man, he's like, Frankie Randall, the day before the fight, he's like, Frankie Randall's downstairs, he's drinking. He's like, okay, that's fine. This is medicine. He need that to get right. He's alcoholic. and so that was crazy. It was funny. Like, some guys need to do bad things to be successful.
Say, you sound like you're muting your mic. I don't even know what you're talking about. He said, bought me some Sarasota water. What's that? What's that, Press? What you talking about? Press, you better not be buying that yayo, Press. That's what that shit sound like. Sound like the original Coke that had cocaine in it. But nah, I'm just playing. So check this out, Positive. So this is what I was gonna say. So Jaime Munguia getting stretched in his last fight doesn't look good for Canelo for several reasons.
Well, look, it was really an accumulation of a lot of things because Jaime Munguia was a knockout waiting to happen. And I think Canelo put the nail in the coffin of that because he really put a beat on it. And Munguia has never been dropped. That was the first time he was ever dropped against Canelo.
Wait a minute. Are you giving Canelo credit for Jaime Munguia getting stretched?
Yeah, he added to the punishment.
No.
Yes.
No. Absolutely not. No.
Before Canelo was the first guy to even drop Munguia.
Man, come on. Correlation is not causation, brother.
He really took a beating.
No. He got stretched in that fight because he was overconfident and the guy had a superior game plan. Every time he was on the ropes, he noticed Jaime Munguia coming in with the same pattern.
But he did not get stretched by an accumulation of punishment. It was basically one punch.
Yes, but it was a setup shot. It wasn't no lucky punch.
But he's been hit by harder punches before.
And you know what? He respected all of those punchers, so he didn't expect any return fire. He thought this was a walking heavy bag.
I'm sure he respected Canelo.
Man, that dude had no respect. I know he respected Canelo as well, but I'm saying he didn't respect.
Down, but he got back up.
Yeah, because he seen the punch and he respected his power. This guy, he was expecting him to be a heavy bag, and he was expecting him to go in there and roll over because he was the A side and he was the star. And when that's why he wasn't on the lookout for no return fire. Didn't think he had to be ready for it. And then when he got hit by it was a fucking shock. It was like fucking Fandora versus Mendoza. But nah, that dude definitely, we can't give Canelo no credit for it.
It was really a combination, like, Canelo, Derenchenko, all those guys, because he's been warring for years in fights. He didn't have to do that. And then, the same thing applies to Eric Morales. Eric Morales had his wars with Marco Antonio Barrera and all these guys. And when he fought Zahir Rahim, I picked Zahir Rahim to win because I knew Zahir Rahim from the '96 Olympics. And a lot of people just thought he was just gonna run over him. I like no, Zahir Rahim's not gonna stand in front of him. All that Mexican war stuff, he's not gonna do that. I was like the only person on the forum that picked Zahir Rahim to win. Like he's not gonna stand in front of him. And Eric Morales basically washed by the time he was 30. And he was watched because he had been in all those wars. Now, he was a better fighter than Zahir Rahim, but at that point in his career, but he still went on to beat Manny Pacquiao after that. Because Manny Pacquiao is the type of guy who's going to stand in front. But then the next fight, Manny Pacquiao knocked him out, and then Danny Garcia knocked him out. And, but he was a shell of himself by then.
If y'all think that Bud Crawford is going to win, I'm gonna need y'all to don't do anything. If y'all think Canelo's gonna win, please double tap that screen. Double tap that screen if you think, y'all voting in the survey. Double tap the screen. You know what I mean? Now they it's a lot of hate watching going out there. But the one thing they doing Well, I hate watching I'm positive. They helping me out, giving me hours out their life they never gonna get back. And then they pushing me out to new people. New people hear these sharp minds on the panel, brother, they gonna come in droves. Remember on the Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. That's what we doing right here. We over here cooking. We just getting started out positive because we on the opposite spectrum of this one. I personally listen. I think Bud's size is definitely a factor, but Bud to me is kind of like Blade. You know, Blade's enemies are always stronger than him, but he always find a way to win, and that's kind of an attribute that you being a winner. Like Andre Ward, you know, he found a way against Kovalev, moving up in weight, and nobody gave him a chance. And outside the controversy,
to win, I picked Andre Ward to win both times because Kovalev just looked like garbage in his fight prior to that. I forgot the guy's name he fought. He fought him on. It was on 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon in Russia.
It was like Barrera or Sullivan.
And he looked like garbage. You know what I'm saying? So
I didn't think he looked that bad.
He looked
terrible. I thought he looked good in that fight.
They gave him a wide decision to make it look better, but he looked bad. And I was like, yeah, Andre Ward's gonna win this. But Andre, the fight was closer than I thought it would be. But in the rematch, he came back, went to the body more and knocked it. And then when he kept going to the body so much that he went up top and he wasn't expecting it. And that's when he started and he knocked him out. But yeah, man. I just thought Kovalev, man. Kovalev was a good fighter though. Then he came back. He was actually KO'd by Alvarez, not Canelo, but the other Alvarez knocked him out. He came back in the rematch and won that fight. And Yard had him out of there. Yard could have stopped him, but then he ran out of gas. But I'm like, yeah, Kovalev was done by then, man.
I don't know about that. Kovalev was still a beast.
No, he was a good fighter, man. But
you talking about post Andre?
Yeah, post Andre. Yeah, but leading up to Andre, the writing was on the wall by then.
Yeah,
the writing was on the wall by then, leading up to Andre. He was still a beast and a top fighter, but the fact of the matter is he couldn't get a 50-year-old Bernard Hopkins out of there. It's sort of a puncher that he was, and I picked him to stop Bernard though, but he couldn't get a 50-year-old Bernard Hopkins out of there.
Let's be honest, man. Nobody gets that. I don't think anybody gets that 50-year-old Bernard Hopkins out of there.
If Bernard Hopkins gets in the ring at that age with the Matthew Saad Muhammad, Bernard leaves that ring on a stretcher.
Man, stop. Ain't nobody. Look, if Joe Smith couldn't make him leave on the stretcher,
Matthew
then we'll make
Saad Muhammad in his prime is not going a distance with a 50-year-old like heavyweight.
But you make it sound like this fucking Rolly Romero or Barroso or some shit like this, bro. This is Bernard Hopkins.
Muhammad is not going a distance with a 50-year-old.
Man, this is a different type of 50-year-old. This is a guy who preserved his body. You know what I mean? Because he was eating fucking MREs in the prison and shit.
Bernard had just got dropped 2 times a couple years prior by. What's his name? Gene Pascal dropped him twice. His punch resistance wasn't the same anymore. And even when he got dropped twice against Pascal, he still was so far ahead in the fight. They said the fight was a draw. And then he beat him in the rematch. But yeah, you go to a guy's hometown, he dropped you twice, and they say it's a draw. That means you won the fight. Well, yeah, Bernard got robbed in that fight, but then he beat him in the rematch and got the title. But yeah, you got dropped twice, but Pascal was never known as a puncher. And he dropped Bernard twice, man. I'm like, okay. Yeah, Bernard need to get up. I was like, he need to get up out of there before he get himself hurt. But he kept fighting. For some reason, I don't know why these guys get up in age. And when I heard he was fighting Kovalev, I'm like, is he crazy at this age? But yeah, that's what he does, man. It was a Hopkins work Kovalev, man. Kovalev won every round. Hopkins and Bernard is my favorite fighter all time, but Kovalev won every round, man. I'm shocked he didn't get the stoppage. I'm shocked. Well, yeah, did the next fight. Joe Smith knocked him out the ring, and when I was like, he pushed me like, nah, man, let's retire, please. You're muted.
My bad. You don't sound like no fan, man. You sound, man. I don't know what that's all part of. That sound like some haterade.
Oh man,
Sound
I'm just a realist, man. I don't shoot the crap, man. I don't shoot the BS, man. I just call it like I see it. Man, Bernard ain't. I mean, Matthew Salmon was not losing to no 50-year-old
man. Matthew Messiah Muhammad.
And I think Bernard's a better fighter than Muhammad all time, obviously. But nah, just like
bro, nobody's stretching Bernard Hopkins, bro. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening.
You might go look at Muhammad fights, man.
Man, it don't matter. Listen, Bernard Hopkins, 50 plus, gets in the ring and gets knocked out of the ring, and he wasn't even carried off a stretcher with that dude. You know what I mean? Or Joe Smith. So what would lead me to believe that anybody could make him leave off the stretcher? You got to remember this. When we talk about Bernard Hopkins, we talk about a guy who had a late start in his career and preserved his body. He wasn't taking punches to the head before his brain was developed at 5 years old, all the way to 12, and later on to 17, while his brain was still developed and still getting beat on. You know what I mean? He preserved, his brain was fully developed. He had grown all the height that he was ever going to grow. You know what I mean? There was no growth spurt or anything. Like that's why he had such a long career, because he started late and he was so disciplined. So Bernard 50 is not like anybody else's 50. We can't pretend like it's the same.
Sam Muhammad, Bob Foster, they knocked Bernard cleanly out.
Bob Foster definitely is not knocking out no Bernard Hopkins.
Man, y'all need to put some, y'all need to go watch some Bob Foster.
Man, I seen Bob Foster.
Bob Foster's kryptonite was heavyweight.
Bob Foster kryptonite.
Those are the only kryptonite. Them heavyweight. Zora Foley, those guys, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali.
What's Bob Foster's signature win? Don't say Dick Tiger. Don't give me these.
Dick Tiger and Crawford. Dick Tiger was a top fighter. Dick Tiger's a two-time. He's a two-time undisputed champ.
Dick Tiger, a guy that's smaller than him.
Dick Tiger's a two-time.
It's his signature fight.
Two-time undisputed. Dick Tiger, two-time undisputed. Yeah, Dick Tiger's an all-time great fighter. That was Mike Tyson smaller than everybody. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Joe Frazier smaller than a lot of heavyweights.
Man, you said Dick Tiger, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Great, man.
He is. But so is Bob Foster. But hold on. See, and this is where your logic followed itself. Dick Tiger was 4'5.5". Dick Tiger was a smaller guy.
These are weight classes, not height classes.
Oh, hey, but he was a small guy even for his weight.
Because at the same time.
But hold on, we can't glaze past that. Dick Tiger was a small guy even for his weight.
No, actually, he wasn't. He wasn't a small guy for his weight. Bob Foster was just bigger. But Dick Tiger's only like a few inches shorter than Joe Frazier. Not like 2 inches shorter than Joe Frazier.
Dick Tiger was a blown up middleweight.
He was a two-time undisputed champion.
Dick Tiger was a blowed up middleweight. So the same thing that then Bob Foster should have been able to beat heavyweight size then, because it wasn't a height class.
Oh, no, what I'm saying.
He made heavyweight.
You talk about Dick Tiger. He won the title from Dick Tiger. Dick Tiger was the light heavyweight champ when he won it from him. He was a two-time undisputed champion. There was no super middleweight back then, so he was a middleweight and I got a video about that. I made a video about that a couple years ago. But he was when everybody said Bud's the first two-time undisputed. They're like, nah, they're like Dick Tiger and Emil Griffith and Holyfield, and these guys was also two-time undisputed.
You could even throw Floyd Patterson, first two-time heavyweight champion, right?
Under two different weight classes. Different weight classes. He was a two-weight undisputed champion. He was 160 and 175 because Bob Foster actually won a title. Dick Tiger was a champion. He won a title from Dick Tiger, and Dick Tiger's only like 2 inches smaller than Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier's like 5.
Well, shit, we get the Holyfield in there. He was two division.
No, that's it. I got a whole list of guys that had did it before, because everybody said Bud was the first two-time undisputed. And I'm like, that's not true. And I made
it's Four Belt era.
Yeah,
That's why. That's how
the
they
4 belt
changed
era.
it.
Yeah, he's the first of the 4 belt era. Yeah.
And that shit don't mean. I mean, it don't mean a lot because they gonna come up with 5 belts pretty soon.
Yeah, it's pretty soon. Yeah, but yeah, man, yeah, man, these guys, man, yeah, man, that was a pretty good win. It was a pretty good win. You know, Mike Quarry's a good win, but you know that was given. That was giving him to knock Quarry out. Yeah, man, Dick Turner's a great fighter. He's a great fighter, and Bob Foster, like he got to be everybody's top 5, like heavyweights, gotta be.
Man, Michael Moore will fuck him up.
Well, it depends on what rules they fought under. If they fought,
Michael Moore fought against the things he could never beat, which was real heavy, full-fledged heavyweight.
If they fought under in Moore's era with next day weigh-ins, and next day fight, I will favor Moore in that fight. If they fought in Foster's era, then Michael Moore wouldn't be able to put that 20 pounds on after the weigh-in. He would have to come in at his right weight. Because Michael Moore was huge.
Yo, Smoking. What do you think about this dude? He said, we do know this. Bud is not going to pull a Charlo stunt.
He ain't gonna have to. Canelo's gonna put him, he ain't gonna have to take a knee. Canelo's gonna put him down there.
And he said, will Bud take the knee like Tank? That's hilarious. Yo, do me a favor. Make sure y'all double tap the screen. But yeah, man, I wanted to react to this video with y'all. Positive. I wanted to get an hour of the sports radio talk. I knew you was gonna give me a lot of pushback because listen, we gotta acknowledge that Bud might be washed up with the legs. We gotta acknowledge that Canelo might be washed up with the mentality. He's not going for stoppages these days. He knows all he has to do is make it to a decision, like Tank knew when he took that knee against Lamont Roach. All I gotta do is survive, and I'm gonna win a decision on the 8 side.
Yeah.
So Canelo does that. That's why Canelo will always start out fast, knock the guy down, and never finish them. And it's like, even in the fight with fucking Munguia, I was so frustrated. Like, bro, finish this guy. I get it. Even in the fucking John Ryder fight, that was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
He kept knocking Ryder down, and then he just went to it. I'm like, man, come on, Canelo.
Think about Bud. If Canelo starts cruising and Bud start pressing the action, that's gonna work in Canelo's favor as well.
I disagree.
Why would you disagree with that?
Because Canelo gasses in the later rounds. When Canelo wants to take a break and his mind is on break, that's what he does in the fight.
Okay, so even if you think Canelo gasses and the punches he's gonna be hitting Bud on the arms, everything. You think Bud's gonna have all this energy left to pull off a knockout?
Yep, he only got to do it this one last time and walk it to the sunset.
Man, no.
We talk, so we can't act like one of these guys ain't ever tasted defeat and one has. I know you've been around a long time. I know you heard the saying. Bro, sometimes it's hard to convince a person that's never been beat that he could lose. Andre Ward ain't lost since he was 12 years old.
Man, my God, man, stop these.
This all I'm saying, all positive. If this is Benavidez, I'll put my house on Benavidez beating Canelo.
Oh, I ain't got no problem.
Excuse me.
I got no problem with it.
Listen, I just look after watching Tank versus Lamont, we gotta just look at boxing a little bit different now because
we don't fought nobody. All Tank's fights is cherry picks. You know, so
exactly, and this is a cherry pick. That's what I'm saying. This is a cherry pick as well.
Eventually, it was going to happen with Tank.
Listen, this is a cherry pick as well. This man don't want to talk about Benavidez. Don't want to say his name. Had his name on the contract to fight Jake Paul, and then took this fight because they offered him more money for more fights in the future instead of that one fight. So he pulled out of that fight with Jake Paul and took this fight instead. And I'm just like, bro. You got a guy whose head is not in it. He underestimating Bud. He gasses in fights. I think the fight goes to a decision for Canelo. But I don't know if Canelo gonna give a dominating performance like everybody think he's not for sure money to me. He's not something I could push my chips in and say, yeah, he gonna do this or he gonna do that. He's not that guy anymore. Now, if this was Canelo probably like 7 years ago, oh, easy. I'm betting the house on that Canelo. This Canelo's a little washed too, bro. He like them fucking tie-dye shirts in the 90s, man. He fade.
This is a silly fight, man. Stop it. I know you. Let you tell the Bud fans what they want to hear, man. Come on, man.
I'll posit it ain't that. After Lamont Roach went there, you seen the show. You heard what I was saying. I said that Terrence Bud Crawford, Lamont Roach is gonna get beheaded. That this is the execution. That if I want to watch an execution, I turn it on. I turn it on the first 48. I was saying all of this shit.
Okay.
Lamont Roach went in there and beat his ass so bad the motherfucker took a knee.
How many weight classes was Tank and Lamont Roach apart?
One.
How many weight classes of Tank is Bud Crawford and Canelo technically?
2.
3 actually. He only had one fight at 154.
Nah, 2. That
was a pit.
Nah, Jeopardy question.
Okay,
nah,
you can even say 2. But when is the last time? No. I've only seen it once in the past, maybe I'd say 30-some years. I've only seen it once. Well, I'll give you 2. Well, guy jumps up 2 weight classes and beats the top guy. How often have you seen that happen?
Well, not that none. But I tell you, but let me say this. Let me say this. Canelo's not the top guy at 68.
Who was the top guy at 68?
The guy that was forced to move up because he couldn't get a fight.
No, man. No, Canelo's the top guy at 68 right now. You know that.
No, look, listen. He the top guy, but by default, he's the top guy because people are gonna sit around waiting for the Canelo lottery, and they might not never get it, so they might have to circumvent around him and fight each other and like move around him like water. But I don't think he's the top guy, not according to the process. We wouldn't be talking about this fight versus him and Terrence Bud Crawford if that was the case. And I like the play that they're doing. Canelo's a smart motherfucker outside the ring. Like I said, he learned from Floyd. He gonna contractually fuck Bud. Watch. What's what I tell you. As far as his weight shit goes, and then he got Bud.
It ain't just the weight. Canelo gonna choose. He's no rehydration clause. He's gonna choose the size of the ring. So Bud ain't gonna be in a big ring. Canelo gonna have that ring so small that Bomac probably won't even be able to fit in that corner fully.
Oh man, wait to the Bomac, bro. Hold up now. Hold up now. You the positive one. Let me hit Bomac with them fat jokes.
But I'm just saying that ring's gonna be so small. And Crawford ain't gonna have a chance to move in that ring, man.
But you know what else? You know what else he gonna get him on? He gonna get him on ring rust. Like Canelo know the game, bro.
He only had one fight. I mean,
they know the game, and he knows he ain't had no fights at 68, so he gonna have to adjust to the weight. He gonna use him as the adjuster to the fight. You know what I mean? We know the play. I know the play. I can see the play, and I just felt like, damn, bro. Like, I can't listen. Even though I still favor Canelo, I say it's like 40-60 now. Only because Canelo to me is not for sure money. I think he lacks a lot. Like I said, like if we talk about Bud's legs being gone, then we gotta talk about Canelo's mentality not being the same. This not the Canelo that fought Triple G. This ain't the Canelo that got hit by Triple G with hard punches and was rolling the shots and countering them. This ain't that guy. This ain't even the Canelo that stopped fucking Caleb Plant. Like this is the Canelo that every fight, no matter what caliber opponent he fight, in the 10th round, he gonna get tired. He gonna be red, and he gonna take a deep breath before the round start, in the round, in between the round, and after. He gonna do all of that shit. This is the same Canelo. SF said, laughing emoji. I think he was laughing at your Bomac. What's up, Steph? He said, be well, scholar. He said, Canelo gonna be punching Bud. Deltoids tried to make his arms heavy. Yeah, we know about it. You know what? See, SF, that's another thing that I started to kind of like become annoyed with Canelo. Canelo in every fight is starting to fight the same. He gonna try to hit you on the shoulders like he Rocky or some shit like Canelo, bro. You not punching like that, bro. Like, yeah, that shit do work. Ain't gonna work on everybody. You're not finna hit everybody in the shoulders and everybody just crumble and take a knee like Mel. You know what I mean? Like I felt like in the fight with Bivol, it cost him. He kept hitting Bivol in the shoulder, and Bivol kept countering. Every time he hit him in the shoulder, he would catch with his shoulder and then shoot the fucking right hand to discourage Canelo from throwing that shot. And Canelo gave up on that shot. All I'm gonna say is this: will Canelo win? More than likely, because Bud has to knock him out to win. We understand this, but you know, Tank got a draw against Lamont Roach, but we felt like Lamont Roach won. And what I'm saying is, you know, the actual fight, is blood gonna get blown out? I don't think he's gonna get blown out anymore, just based off of Canelo's mentality. But like I said, the motherfucker is smart, because what he's doing is he letting Bud sit around while he like, hey Bud, just sit down here, let me go get this undisputed belt, and then we can make it for one undisputed. But like, hell yeah, man, I only want to fight one more time to get undisputed anyway. And then he just sitting around waiting, and he's the older guy, and he's moving up in weight. Like, he has to acclimate. Canelo ain't got to acclimate the shit, you know. So he's smart in that aspect, keeping Bud waiting while he go. You know what I mean? That's some daddy stay at the house, I'll be right back type shit. You know, he pulled the wool over Bud's eyes with that shit.
Yeah, he's inactive, man. That year off is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt him because he's not active, and everybody's like, well, Bud's walking around 186, yeah, but he's not used to fighting at the 170s. That's what he's gonna be on fight night, so he's not used to fighting at that weight. And so, I mean, you know, at least he's gonna get paid for it.
Yo, I seen a video of Terrence Bud Crawford. We're gonna react to this shit because, you know, I want you to pay attention to his size. No Diddy. Tell me what you think about his size. He filling out right? Because you know, I'm friends with a Canelo fan. I mean a Bud fan. I ain't gonna say no name. You know, but he think Bud is finna do the damn thing. He think Bud is finna go in there and upset the world, and he be sending me little pictures of Bud training and stuff. So you know, and I'll be telling him like, bro, these are just scales and stuff like that. It ain't actual footage of him doing anything. You know what must be said all positive since we here? People always talk about sparring stories and sparring wars. That sparring shit be giving people false sense of confidence.
It does.
Because Mikey Garcia thought that because he had sparred bigger guys, like a Brandon Rios and shit like that he was going to go in there and beat up Errol Spence.
The whole point of sparring is like, you're not going to bring a sparring partner in that's going to beat you up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find the right sparring partner where you can look a little good. Where, like I said, you're not going to have a sparring partner into the fight that's beating you up every day. So that's supposed to give you confidence.
Yeah, he go, hey, Steph, he gonna be countering the shit out of him. What I think will happen though, I think Bud's gonna start off like a rocket because he knows Bud is a winner, bro. Winners know how to win, you know, and he knows that he has to establish some type of respect from the big guy early on. I mean, most smaller guys, it's like standard rule, you know what I mean? Boxing, you know, Sugar Ray understood it against Hagler. Most guys understand this, right? So he knows that, huh?
So I was saying, if he comes out in that southpaw stance, he's toast. He better come out fighting conventional.
Well, I mean,
if Bud comes out with his power hand in the front, with his in that southpaw stance, because that right hand,
I disagree.
He is toast.
Bud is ambidextrous. What you mean, brother?
I know, but he normally fights with his power hand in the front. You know what I'm saying? If he comes out with his power hand,
look. So I looked this up. Bud fights 80% of his fights in southpaw.
Exactly. It was like he normally starts at left and spits, but lately he's been starting at southpaw. Finishing the fight southpaw because he likes his power hand in the front. But man, if he comes up like Canelo with that power hand in the front, and you already know the punch that southpaws are susceptible to, that is gonna be bad. That's gonna be bad early.
I don't know, Opa. I think you're tripping, brother.
Yeah, I know.
I think you're tripping, brother. I think his best bet is to start off in southpaw, where he's further away from his opponent. That's what I think.
Y'all don't think Canelo's gonna land any punches on Bud the first?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to. People are like, y'all
but this is what I think. What's up, Foodie? I think if he hurts him, I don't think he finishes him.
I think I think he will. He won't finish him early, but you know why I think he's gonna finish him? Because Bud has the brain of Holyfield back in the day. When you hurt Holyfield, what did he do? He didn't hold. He hit you back. The only guy he held was George Foreman. You know what I'm saying? When he got hurt. But other than that, when Riddick Bowe hurt him, you're like, okay, I'm gonna fight you back. I just think Bud got that mentality of, hey, you hurt me, I'm gonna try to hurt you back. And that's gonna be very bad.
Okay.
I think Bud's gonna start out good, and I think he's gonna start out good. And I think he's gonna look good the first 5 rounds. He'll probably get rocked early or whatever. But
hold up, you done stretched the rounds now. You giving Bud a shot now?
I've always said it. I think he's gonna look good the first 3-4 rounds.
I know, but you said 3 rounds. Now you saying 3-4. You done gave this man. Look, he growing on you. He growing on you.
I said that for months. I said,
no.
I mean, you can go look at the old shows of it. I'm like, he's gonna look good for the first 3 or 4 rounds, and then he's gonna start becoming stationary.
He growing on you, all positive.
The problem's look, man. You already know where my money's going. Look, I'm like, you already know.
But hold up. Tell me you ain't for the hedge. Tell me you're not for the hedge. Tell me you're not for the hedge your bet.
No.
So you going straight Canelo.
I ain't putting a single dollar on Bud Crawford. Not one.
You lost your mind. You crazy.
No, I ain't putting a dollar on him. I know the outcome.
That's crazy. Why wouldn't you hedge your bet?
Ain't no need. No need. This is a bogus fight, man. Like I said, it is so much disrespect in the sport of boxing nowadays. Everybody's talking about Clarissa Shields versus Baumgartner. They're like 7 weight classes apart. They're talking
whoa, brother. We can't
Clarissa Shields versus Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano fights at 126.
Hold up, brother. We can't act like what you call it on that juice.
Juice or not, you're not beating somebody 7 weight classes above.
Wait, hold up, because we didn't see Holyfield gain 50, 60 pounds on that juice.
Nah, Holyfield got up to 215, but
Holyfield without the you know who took juice and admitted to taking the juice.
Baumgart's not gonna put on 30 pounds of muscle.
But you know who took it?
30 pounds of muscle, man.
You know who took it and admitted it? What's that dude? What's that dude I don't like? Oh, god damn, what's his name? All positive. Tommy the Duke Morris.
Tom Morris,
He said he would have never been heavyweight without the juice. He said he would have actually been a middleweight.
Yeah, probably so, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you give Alicia Baumgartner a year of juicing, shit, she might be fighting Mike Tyson. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Baumgartner fights at 130. Clarissa Shields fights at 175 now. That is 45 pounds.
Foodie got a question for you, Alpaza. She said, how does Canelo fare against southpaws?
Which one? Southpaws that move or stand still? Because Canelo only struggles. Canelo struggles with guys that move, like guys that the smaller guys that move. Austin Trout, Mayweather, what's his name? What's the guy named the middleweight champ now? That they got robbed against. They robbed him against Canelo.
You talking about? You ain't talking about Jacobs, is you?
No, we ain't robbed
Laura.
Danny Jacobs. Yeah, Laura. Lord, man, these guys movers. Canelo's always struggled against movers. Bud is not a mover. He doesn't fight like that. Even at this age, what the last few fights have y'all seen Bud on his toes moving in and out? On his toes for 12 rounds. Styles make fights, man. I thought Lara beat him. Mayweather shut him out. B-Roll was just a bigger guy. You know. But yeah, Styles make fights, man.
But you forgetting all positive. That man took a bullet to the head, man. That man took a bullet to the head, bro.
He's gonna take more than that. He's gonna take a lot. He's gonna take some punches to the head in September. Man,
We gonna be there. Man, is you really gonna show up to this fight, man?
I don't have no reason not to. Yeah.
Man, we was all supposed to go to the Mike Tyson fight. I ended up being the only one going.
Man, that Mike Tyson fight. I wanted to go, man. I tried not to go. I should have went, man. But yeah, I'm going to this one. I'm going to this fight, man. I got to. I'm going to the fight.
I could have gave you some bail money and then jumped over the ropes and made history.
I'm trying to get some good seats, man, because I'm trying to take some good pictures.
All right, let's react to this interview right here. So, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I see the screen.
Do you see Bud's weight? Do you like how he looking, putting on the weight? Like, what's first thoughts? I noticed the little Norbert afro. First thing I noticed. I'm like, damn.
I mean, he putting on the weight. I mean, he got a year for it, so I mean, we'll see what it is. I don't think the extra weight's gonna help. I think he should. I think he
cut his hair.
I think he should come in comfortable.
He should cut his hair. First thing I noticed.
160, 157, 160. You don't have to come in at 168.
He gonna be just like Tank. Talking about the grease dripping down in his eye. He should cut the hair. I don't know why fighters want hair. You know what I mean? It's not good aesthetics. I seen a James Toney highlights. I think it was against John Ruiz, and John Ruiz caught him. It was a good punch, but it looked worse than what it was. Because he had dreads at the time. And I remember he went and laid on the ropes to tell everybody, like, man, get out of here. That shit wasn't that type shit, So first thing, just cut your hair. Grow the shit out after you, or leave it. Because Canelo's a big guy. And every punch that he hits you with, you're going to feel. It's going to move your body around. Do you want your hair flopping all around too? First things first, cut his hair. But that's just me. You know what I mean? I ain't nobody. I'm just a nigga on YouTube with a channel. That would be my first advice to Bud. Cut your fucking hair, bro. You know what I mean? I get it. The rough man look, the liver king look that you're going for. Me putting on the weight, fucking these hoes. Nah, let's stop. What? Nah. Let me not go there. But look. See how positive turns over a new leaf. I was for to crack a joke about Bud and his girlfriend, but I ain't even do it. But look, I don't like the weight on him. I don't like how his body look. No diddy. I ain't seen it in action, but I'm like, if they keep why Bud keep releasing just like him on a scale and shit? Why not release some sparring footage? Boots released a little bit of footage on him sparring Sean Porter for whatever reason. Release a little bit of sparring footage against a nobody. I mean, just a big guy that you in there dominating, whatever the case may be. Like, why they so secretive about this shit? Like, do they want the element of surprise?
They know what they're doing. It's a cash out. They're cashing out.
Foodie said, I'm going to the fight. Foodie, is you gonna link up with me and all positive? Is we gonna bet some drinks on? Are we gonna bet some drinks on the fight?
And only drink I'm gonna be drinking Shirley Temples.
I don't even know what that is, but I'm not familiar.
Basically grenadine and Sprite. Alcohol. I don't drink no alcohol.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol either.
Yeah,
I drink I drink some old dudes. The non-alcoholic.
Hopefully they got some chill wine in Vegas. I hope I ain't got
some wine. Yeah, I drink some wine. Alcohol just never. Huh? You said what?
Hopefully they got some chill wine in Vegas. Hopefully they ain't gonna sneak on the plane.
All positive, you're gonna be drunk off mimosas before we even get there.
No, chill wine is an actual soda. It's like a cherry a cherry soda.
Footy said Lennox Lewis never complained about grease dripping down in his eyes and he had dreads. This is true. But you know what, Footy? Every time we seen Lennox Lewis get his ass knocked out, them dreads was flying all over the place. As a matter of fact, when Hakeem Rockman hit him, one of his dreads came out of place. You remember that, all positive?
Yeah.
One of his dreads came out of, like, he had it braided and shit. And Hakeem Rockman hit him so hard, that shit was just draped over his face. And he was just getting up like out of it. Like, which way did he go? Which way did he go? All right, but here we go. Let's get to without further ado, let's get to this Bud interview. This is actually a pretty decent interview.
Terrence, but you're going after undisputed at super middleweight. You're kind of waiting to see how the landscape is going to shift out right now with Canelo and his fight coming up May 3 against William Skull. It sounds like you're not going to take a fight until September when this super fight is finally going to come to fruition. But first things first, how's life treating you? How is everything going? And what are the latest updates you can share about what Terrence Bud Crawford's been up to since winning the title against Israel Madrimov?
Well, life is great. You know, I've been able to spend more time with my family and get a lot done back at home.
Is it me or is Bud's volume low?
Yeah, the volume is low.
Okay, I thought I was tripping.
Just enjoying life right now. I'm excited for Canelo's upcoming fight. Hope he be successful and then becoming another.
Did he say hopefully he's successful?
Yeah.
Come on, Bud. Like, that guy got a better chance. Let me stop.
He does. William Skull got a better chance.
Like myself in a way. And hopefully we can get that fight in September.
How has life been like with you, just watching the kids grow up? I know your kids are active in wrestling and sports, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Terrence is not active; he's only fighting once a year." But you're making great money. You're in meaningful fights, and you're enjoying your family at the same time, and still giving the boxing public the fights they want to see. So, how are you making everything still work for you?
Oh man, it's great. It's great. I understand that they want me to fight more, but it's not their life. It just tells me that they all fans and that they appreciate my skills. Even the ones that say they don't, that they don't like my style, they watch. So everybody want to see Terrence Crawford. Everybody want to see Terrence Crawford be more active. But,
So if y'all didn't hear what he said, shh, let me whisper in here. Tell you something that you might like to hear. Like, bro, what the fuck? Come on, Bud. That's crazy, bro. It's because he ain't got no microphone on Bud. So he doing the interview and he not close to Bud. He probably way back. So we just hear his ass loud. With the question, how the question is louder than the answers. That's crazy. I ain't never seen that before. But he basically said that fans want to see him fight more frequently. Is that what you heard, all positive?
Yeah.
And he said, but it's his career. And he was basically saying that, fans really love him. And he said haters even really love him.
It is what it is. It's God's time, not mine.
When you and I last met last summer, when you were here in Los Angeles promoting the Israel Madrimov fight, which took place at the BMO Stadium, of course, we saw Eminem put out a concert right before your ring walk, electric atmosphere. You finally got your flowers, right? I felt like after all the years of hard work, not getting the fights that you wanted, you beat Spence in a convincing fashion, and then you went and became a 4-division title holder. What has this entire last 2 years been like with Turki Al-Sheikh also embracing you, making sure you get the legacy-defining fights that you've been seeking? How would you describe just finally getting your flowers?
Oh man, it's just we as people, we always want things when we want it, but when it's time, that's when God will let the light shine on. So I just bought my time and just stay, patient and stay active as possible, and just kept winning. And I still got a lot of doubters. I still got a lot of hate, but at the same time, I'm getting my just due, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like some of that hate.
He said he got haters, but at the same time, he feel like he finally getting his just dues. I said that after the Errol Spence fight. I said, Bud is finally going to get it. They can't deny it no more. He dismantled this motherfucker. And like I said, Gamboa gave up a better fight than fucking Spence. He almost knocked Spence out in the second round. So the Joe Rogan show. He was doing shit. I think he might have even did Oprah shit. He doing everybody's shows. So he finally getting the paydays that he want. He should have been getting paydays like this his entire career. Like I said, he's a model citizen. Don't smoke or drink and shape you around. He's what a boxer's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like closest thing to Hagler like mindset. You know, so he's supposed to be getting the paydays. It's funny because when they look back at history, our positive, they say, well, you know, Hagler had to take the hard road and Sugar Ray was giving everything. And that's why I like Hagler better than Sugar Ray. And then they got Bud taking the hard way. And they're like, man, look, Bud ain't no draw. He can't sell. Like, what? What?
You feel like everyone's like, oh, you beat maybe a diminished version of Spence after the accident, all the alcohol, this, that. I feel like a lot of people have pointed to.
Listen, this is the first interview where I've heard somebody ask him that. Listen, the only thing that the interview made, and this is like what Errol would say, a rookie mistake. This is like something that you just learn from bumps and bruises, was the audio. But I like the questioning. The questioning was perfect. I'm glad that he asked them that about this stuff so he can finally answer. It's like the elephant in the room. You know, fans are saying it, but how does how does Bud feel about the shit?
Other things outside of the dominant performance that the world saw that day. And it kind of, unfortunately, it's been in like a storyline of your career, right? No one wants to give you the credit you rightfully deserve because the accomplishments have come along the way and you still have these haters. Why is that?
Well, you know, haters is like everybody else. They undercover fans. You know, everybody have their significant fighters that they gravitate to, and that's who they want to win. And when they don't win, they got to look for an excuse why they didn't win. You know, I wanted to fight Spence, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, all those top welterweights when I moved in the division.
Porter, Ugas, there was a lot of them.
Well, I wouldn't say Porter because that wasn't somebody that I was searching for at the time. You know, Ugas wasn't a champion either, but once Ugas became champion, he was definitely a fighter that I wanted to fight. But all these other fighters, you know, they all had excuses that I haven't fought in the welterweight division yet. I wasn't proven. So once I did get my hands on him, then it was, I got him here late. I got him bruised up, or, you know, Sean Porter was one leg in, one leg out, and Kell Brook was already battered. You know, so it was just always an excuse. But prior to these fights, these was individuals that the whole certain boxing groups thought was going to beat me.
And now you're going.
All positive. Ain't that what I always say?
Mm-hmm.
Haters are really fans. They just don't know it. You know, it's like that movie that came out with Martin Lawrence, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Like, how you hate somebody, but a majority of your life goes into consuming their content or their fights, or, you know what I mean, you giving them a lot of thought. Like, it's not hate at all. It's misplaced love. You know what I mean? That's basically what Bud just said. That's real shit. Cause if I don't like something, I just don't tune in. If I don't like a fighter, you know what I mean? And look, a lot of times, listen, boxing, make no mistake about it, it's my job. I told everybody my goal is I want 100,000 subs. You know what I mean? I want to make the most money off this shit. I want press credits. I want the highest aspiration a YouTuber can go. I ain't fuck all that humble shit, bro. Like, I ain't on this. I ain't get on this bitch to be no fucking social worker. You know what I mean? Like, I came here to be a boxing commentator. Of course, I want to do something that I love and get paid a lot of money to do it. It'd be foolish not to. That's most people's goal. You know what I mean? That's why everybody talking about, hey man, you got an LLC, gotta start your business. You know what I mean? How y'all gonna be like that in real life, but then get on YouTube and be like, nah, just throw away your time. And everybody got, you know what I mean, a finite amount of time and words. But that's neither here nor there. He's right. He's right about that. You know, haters, they don't realize it, but they love you. You know what I mean? They'll consume you. They'll go to your fights, pull up and talk about you and all this other crazy shit. They really love you. Shakur Stevenson, listen, and I'm a fan of the Sweet Science. I break this shit down, right? I really love this shit. I can't make it through his fights. It's when Shakur fought tomorrow. Anybody outside of Tank or Lomachenko or Keyshawn Davis, I don't want to see it. I'm just being honest. I don't want to see it. You know, maybe Schofield. I do not want to see this shit. I think it's gonna be a boring fight. I think he's not gonna take risks. He's gonna be really calculated. He's overly calculated where he's doing analysis paralysis inside the fucking ring in real time, and you can see it. Then he's not taking really risks, and he pulling back from punch. Shakur is not an exciting fighter for me to watch. As a matter of fact, when we did the live, all positive, he put 3 people on the panel to sleep.
Yeah,
me being one of them.
I put my mic on mute, man, because I was falling asleep, man.
So I say this: it's my job to cover boxing, and I still dread covering Shakur. But if I had the option and wasn't a content creator, I would not consume Shakur, because you don't have to consume shit that you don't like. You don't have to consume shit, that just to complain about the shit that you consume. Then you're really a fan. You're just on the opposite spectrum. It's like Jesus is king. No, religions don't exist. Like atheists are really Christians without a God. They go and scratch out every fucking "in God we trust" on the dollar bills. Like, they doing all that crazy shit. They hyper religious too. That shit is a religion itself. But like I said, thin line between love and hate. They just don't know it. He said he's not that good. Been saying it the whole time. Steph, you right, brother. Check this out. I remember going on the show. This is before I knew all positive. Wish I knew all positive then. He would probably back me up on this. Remember, Shakur had fought somebody. I think it might have been De Los Santos.
Oh my God, I was up, man. That fight was terrible, man.
Nope, it wasn't De Los Santos. Who the fuck was that guy? Damn.
Worse.
Nah. Yeah, it was after he fought the dude that was with Eddie Reynoso. He fought Navarrete too.
Yeah.
What is that guy's name? Oscar Valdez. It was when he fought Oscar Valdez, and after he fought Oscar Valdez, he fought another person. And when he fought that guy, I was like, yeah, Shakur is not that guy, because they were saying he's the next Mayweather. You don't understand how special this guy is. They was talking about him like he was a fucking Hall of Famer, which is insane to me. And I was like, listen, man, this guy's not that good, bro. I started pointing out all the flaws, and everybody was like, "But Scholar, you crazy? Change your name from the Boxing Scholar. You know the Boxing Scholar, and blah 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 blah." Turn out, like 5 years later, they would all be saying the same praises that I'm saying about Shakur Stevenson, being overrated, not taking risks. They even say he's boring to watch now. The same people that told you how exciting he was and he's the next Mayweather is now saying how hard he is to watch. Like, that's fucking hilarious. Then you got the fucking brittle hands like Floyd Mayweather. I brought that shit up years ago. But like I said, that's neither here nor there. I digress. Let's get back to Budrick. Bud always, I'll pause. This is body language. Bud always walk around with a chip on his shoulder. His mama gave him a gift and a curse. The gift was that he's super competitive and it's made him millions and millions of dollars. The curse is he always walk around with a chip on his shoulder, trying to compete in everything. You know what I mean? Like, his cup ain't ever full. You know what I mean? Like, he talking this retirement shit. If Bud was to pull a miracle off, he might stop boxing. He gonna get the Canelo rematch. Even if he wins, I don't think he get out of Dodge. I think he gonna get a Canelo rematch, because Canelo was trying to rematch Bivol. If Bud gets out a close decision and Canelo don't take a lot of damage, you don't think he going right back into the fight with Bud? Hell yeah.
Yeah, more money.
Yeah, he did it with Triple G. Canelo, he's not shy for rematches, especially if it's a lot of money on the line. Like, he's definitely gonna have to beat him twice. So, like I said, I think Bud barking up the wrong tree. I think a bear is gonna fall out this tree, and I think I don't want to see it. I'd rather see him fight other people at 54. But I get the chess move. I just hope he made the right move.
It's a cash grab. It's a money thing.
All right, let's go through this low audio on Budrick.
Up against what could perhaps be one of the most insurmountable tasks. People are saying you're biting off more than you can chew. Now again, there's doubts being thrown out there, but you're as confident as ever. You've said skill for skill, you match against Alvarez, and you could take the power and deliver it too. The more you think about this fight, how do you envision it going?
Well, listen, I've been doubted my whole career. If you ask anybody that's been following me, they all tell you, oh, we didn't, by the media and by all the negative things that people said about Terrence Crawford along the way, they would have never thought I'd be in this place that I am now. But I did. So it's funny to say, because I've been hearing this my whole career, that I'm too small for this guy. This guy's too strong, or this guy punches too hard. I don't got no chin, or I'm this, I'm that. So I just suck it all in and just laugh, because those fighters and those people that have this negative thought of Terrence Crawford never been in the ring before. So it don't even bother me. Me and Canelo is gonna be a tough fight for both of us. But at the same time, I don't.
Oh, pause. You gotta listen to this part. This part is specifically for you. He talking to you right here.
Yeah, talking to me.
No, right here. What's coming up? Listen to this. This is strictly for you.
I don't know. Like I always say, I say the same thing every time somebody asks me. Like when they ask me about the Spence fight, do I think that's going to be the toughest fight of my career? And I said, I don't know. I've never been in the ring with Spence. I never sparred him. Never been in the ring. Never felt his punching power. No nothing. So I can't give you a blind judgment on if I think that's going to be the toughest fight of my career. Just like with Canelo Alvarez, we all know Canelo is great. We all know he's big. We all know he's strong. He got good timing. He got good punching power. He moves his head well. He's a good counter puncher. We all know all that things about Canelo, but we never seen Terrence Crawford at 168. So we don't know. We don't know if Terrence Crawford can take his punch power. We don't know if Canelo is going to be able to box, toe for toe with Terrence. We don't know if Canelo's going to be able to push him around. We think we know Canelo's going to be able to walk him down because he's been in the weight class longer than Crawford. But in reality, we don't know. That's why two fighters fight. So I'm just excited to be in a position.
Talking to you, all positive. We don't know. We never see Canelo get hit by Bud at 68. So what happened if he get hit and he cower? Oh man, I don't like that. I don't like that answer, man. You sound like a man that's convinced. You sound like a man that done crossed over to the other side. You sound like a man that believes that Canelo might get his ass whooped now.
Thing I said last year, I'm gonna keep saying it. This fight is silly, and people are gonna see it as silly. And I'm gonna make my video. I'm gonna make a video right before the fight happens, and then I'm gonna make another video after the fight happens. And I'm saying, I told y'all so. I told you so. Everything I said is gonna happen. Just
Man,
Catch game.
He
Just
can't
like
do that.
Great White Hype, when they gave everybody a chance, when they gave everybody the hope that Terry Conklin was going to beat Roper, and they knew.
He almost did.
No, he didn't. He never. He got
hit him with that right hand.
And they knew. Sammy Jackson knew what was going to happen. And everybody knew. Only people that didn't know was Jeff Goldblum's character, because he started. And the fans will believe in the hype. They putting all this money on, and Vegas won.
She said, I want to put $10 on a clean cut white boy.
But they knew. Sammy Jackson character knew what was going to happen.
No, brother.
Man, we've seen this before, these build up to these fights, man. This man just jumped up to 54, didn't look good. He's jumping up 2 more weight classes. And he's about 40 years old. I'm like, I just don't see how.
Y'all notice motherfuckers always want to round up whenever you pass 30.
I mean, I know what a 40-year-old body feels like. Maybe a lot of people don't. It ain't been. I was 40 many years ago. I know what a 40-year-old body feels like.
What it feel like? Do it hurt?
You don't feel the same way you felt when you was 30. I know that much. It ain't no. It's a big difference. Especially at the age I'm at now. I'm like, yo, it's a big difference, man. And He'll see. And like I said, he's gonna get paid lovely for it. Like I tell you, I'll fight Canelo tomorrow for the money they're paying Bud. I'll fight him in his kitchen. With his family included. Yeah, but
If Bud Mama's a judge, you're gonna win.
This whole thing about Turkey Al-Shi and boxing, man. I like, what is the point of weight classes and you put on silly fights like this? Now he's talking about Tank versus Inoue. Inoue's not even entertaining it. Like, they're 3 weight classes apart. As good as Inoue is, Tank hits him once, she's out of there. I don't care how Tank looked against Roach.
How you gonna talk about Tank versus Inoue, and he already told Tank he not sending them no Ferraris to negotiate with him. He'll send them 2 boxing gloves, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, man, it's making a mockery of the sport, man. People talking about Jake Paul making a mockery of the sport. Now all these guys,
Jake Paul called out Anthony Joshua.
He can't beat no Anthony Joshua.
Huh?
He ain't calling Anthony Joshua. He ain't that
crazy. He did hit. He did.
Man, Jake Paul is crazy.
He is. We already knew that.
But yeah, all these fights, these multiple weight classes, it's making a mockery of the sport.
It does it.
It does make a mockery.
What was Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua at Tyson Fury?
It was a mockery, and Fury almost lost.
He did lose. They had to rob Francis Ngannou.
Like, man,
he did lose with his sorry ass. Man lost a dude with no experience. After hyping him up and saying Muhammad Ali couldn't beat him because he tall. What's up, KP? After telling us Muhammad Ali couldn't beat him and all this old crazy shit, a dude with no fucking boxing experience gets in there and drops him twice. You know what I mean? And then they have to rob him to keep save face with boxing. That's crazy. But yeah, I was gonna say all positive is they've always had fights like this. Butterbean built the whole career on it, brother.
Yeah. He did.
Butterbean had an official box rec of nothing but freak shows. Then he fought Larry Holmes. That's what I'm saying. This shit has been around forever, and it's entertainment at the end of the day. You have to entertain fans. Turkey Al-Shi is showing that, he throwing these names out, Larry Holmes and all this stuff. He don't really respect the sport like that. That man is there for entertainment. That's why you never hear him talk about getting steroids out of boxing, clean sport. You never hear him say any of this shit. He just says entertainment. That's why he wasn't teamed up with Dana White, because Dana White thinks the same thing. Dana White's the only boxing promoter I know that made billions of dollars off the fighters getting free CTE and don't want to pay them. Like, say what you want about Don King, he paid him something, and Don King made $1 billion over the course of his career. Dana White is already a billionaire, and he don't want to pay his fucking fighters shit. And Turkey chose that guy as the guy to be like an ambassador for the sport. I think that's and take over the sport and get a quote unquote keys of the sport to him. I don't think that's a good thing, but we're gonna see. I've been right before and been wrong before. Like I said before, we finna find out. We finna find out all positive. But now that as far as the mockery stuff, all positive, that shit, that's boxing, man. That's life. All positive. If I came up here tomorrow and when I do my presentation, I know I have to be entertaining. If I just came and just listed a whole bunch of facts, and just gave a lie, people not gonna be that interested. Like, how many people covered George Foreman's actual death? How many boxing channels did that?
A few.
Not that many.
Yeah, I said a few.
It should have been It should have been the entire fucking boxing world talking about this great man leaving Earth. Because when Muhammad Ali left Earth, they couldn't wait to go live to talk about Muhammad Ali because they know Muhammad Ali gonna get the clicks. I guess they didn't feel like George Foreman was a big enough boxer, or maybe they don't know George Foreman from anything outside selling grills. Who knows what the fuck they know? You got to be entertaining. You have to be entertaining while giving your presentation. You have to entertain. and at the same time educate. And that's what boxing is. You know, that's why people go to my channel, because they feel like they want to learn the sweet science. They feel like I have good introspect. I got guests like you on Echo. You know what I mean? You get people like that, so they're not interested in learning the science of boxing. They'll just, what do you call it, outsource it to somebody who they feel like does, and they'll just take the talking points to there. But when it's time for entertainment, they're gonna show up to be entertained. That's one thing that they will do in boxing: show up to be entertained. And I can't even be mad at them. Shit, I used to watch Jerry Springer.
Man, I used to think that was real myself, but yeah, we know Jerry's a bunch of bull.
Yeah, I used to. I mean, shit. You remember Jerry Springer? They would like, so he slept with your sister, and they'd be like, ding ding. That was a sign for them to fight. They wouldn't even be ready to fight.
You know what? I met it. I got a picture of her somewhere, man. I got a picture. I know the picture of, but a female I knew, a white girl. She was on Jerry Springer. And she told me like everything that went down. How they she was from Chicago. She like everything went down, like everything was fake. Like she was up there, had a girlfriend and all that. And she's like, yeah, that show was fake, man. She's like, yeah, they paid for us to do that and all that.
So do they tell them like, hey man, when we ring this bell, you got to fight no matter what?
Well, she didn't go into detail about the bell. She told us like the whole show was just it was just not real. No, it was like real.
He put laughing emoji. He said, facts, entertainment, and learning on this channel. Appreciate you smoking. He said Jerry was real at one point. I bet you believe wrestling is real too, brother.
No, it was real before he hit the
man. Jerry Springer was never real.
No. When he hit the late night circuit with the fight, because he used to be a daytime guy. But when he hit the late night circuit, that's when everything just went totally left field fake.
Would they have fights in the daytime?
No, I don't want to have fights in there.
Oh, so he was actually a real host.
He was a real host. Yeah, he was a real host then. Well, they took the night and all those fights and all that silly nigga. I never heard of him until the fights and stuff in the 90s, man. I remember every time he would drop a VHS tape in late 90s, I would always buy that joint. You know, the True Hopper TV, the uncensored joints. Yeah, I was always buying those.
Yo, positive. Another thing is, I think is crazy is that, you know, Jerry Springer smoked crack. Yes, Jerry Springer was a fucking crackhead. I think he was a judge as well. And that's why I be trying to tell these content creators.
Or something like that.
Jake Paul, Logan Paul, it wasn't Jake Paul, Logan Paul, put this shit into words. You know what I mean? I had the idea, but he just, you know how somebody might articulate it, you'd be like, damn, that's facts. He said, it's not about being liked. It's about getting people's attention. And these haters that be watching the show, I have their attention. They're giving me watch hours. This is coming from a successful YouTuber, and he's absolutely right. Like Jerry Springer smoked crack. He wasn't in this fucking business to be no social worker either. He wasn't trying to be liked. He was trying to get people's attention. That's what made the success. That's the formula for success. People be trying to like portray characters and this, do you like me? And let me expose this, that. But nobody gives a fuck. Oh, nobody give a fuck. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the character. Nobody's gonna put a standard on their entertainment. That's like you know what that's like? That's like going to a strip club, right? And the stripper's dancing, and the girl in the club say, you know she steals, right? Bitch, I don't give a fuck. Now bend over and get this dollar. You know what I mean? Like, that shit don't fucking matter. It's entertainment, man. Like, just shut the fuck up and be entertained. Long as a motherfucker ain't no PDF, like, chill out. Find your lane on the entertainment aspect, and everything can fall into place. Because I know where I am. I know what I am on the internet. I know what this shit for to do. This shit for to go back up again, like a roller coaster. And like I said, my goal is 100,000 subs. I don't know about nobody else's. I want that plaque. I want that plaque mean everything. That plaque is like an Oscar on YouTube. It bring in a lot of opportunities. Like when people see you have 100,000 subs, they might not even know what your channel's about, but they gonna like, if you apply, they gonna approve you type shit. So yeah, man, that's the type of shit that I'm on. I'm finna run this shit up, but yeah, all positive. I might have to start going in the daytime with y'all, Posse. Sound
Boy,
like you're getting sleepy over there, brother.
Nah, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm good.
You gotta take you some 5-hour energy, not that 5 minute like press.
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm just going through something. I'm just at the same time talking to you. I'm editing some drum sounds. That's all. I got my earpiece thing in one ear and one ear open.
Yeah, all positive, man. When you gonna start dropping some what you call it over there, man? Some fight content. You know too much about the fight game, man.
I do, man. You know what I'm saying? But I got a video dropping today. I have to drop it today because I forgot about it, and I'm looking for this folder where I got it in, man, so I can finish it up, man. 35. Today is March 25th. 35 years ago today. 35 years ago today. It was a Sunday. I went to go see Death by Temptation at the theater. And I never made a video about it. I always want to make a video about what happened that night. The theater, where that theater is at now. I got pictures of the theater, what it is now. And it was a Park Theater. And what I watched when I got... The reason why I know it's March 25th, because when I got home, Common Ground was on TV. And if you go on YouTube, not YouTube, but if you go on internet, even IMDb, you pull it up, they say Death by Temptation came out in May of 1990. But that's not true. Came out March 20. It came out that weekend because I saw it that weekend because Common Ground came on that Sunday night on CBS. It was a movie about segregation in the 70s and up north. So yeah, definitely, it's March 25th is the actual date that it dropped. But yeah, I gotta finish my video editing and put my video online about that, man.
So, Positive, let me ask you this.
Yeah,
this was the whole theme of today's show. Would you like to see Tank fight Shakur?
Of course, because like I said, like you say, he's gonna make him. Something's got to give. Now, either he's gonna allow Shakur to peck him for 12 rounds, or he's gonna force him to fight.
Somebody gonna be scared. Somebody gonna be on the receiving end of embarrassment.
Yeah, somebody.
Shit, and it might be Steve again. Steve might be his personal ref again, like how Mayweather had. What's his name?
Yeah.
What's the dude's name? I done forgot already.
Kenny Bayless.
Kenny Bayless. That's it. Yeah, Kenny Bayless.
Man, he might be his own personal ref, man. So, yeah,
shit, Floyd called a timeout and switched the referee during the fucking fight.
That's right, man. I don't look at none of them Floyd. I'll probably switch to it, whatever. Like I said, I don't get hyped none of them exhibitions. Like, no, I don't mess with Floyd like that.
Yo, Positive. You need to do a live on your channel. Invite me over there to cook in the daytime. And I would just do a live over there because we be talking about a bunch of shit, a bunch of boxing shit offline any goddamn way, making some great ass points. You know what I mean? And then we can catch my cousin, you know, who used to box white, because shit around these the hours where the motherfucker be sleep like a motherfucker. So we can catch him during peak hours too, so he can add to it. Because I wanted him to pull up today so we could talk about Tony. A lot of people don't even know who Tony is. You know, we get it straight from not the horse's mouth, but at least somebody that was around, you know.
Tony, man, man. I was amazed at him for him able to get out of prison and 15 years and still be able to, you know, to do anything in boxing.
Yeah, but he's been doing this since he was a kid. I'm not that don't impress me.
I was impressed by that.
Him being able to do it as a kid and then he fighting a guy in Yuri Boy campus who's kind of washed up at that point as well. It's not a big deal. He stopped. He quit in that fight. Yeah, I believe he quit on the stool. So I'm not big on Tony. Tony, you know what Tony showed me? Tony showed me it don't matter. See, people look at these fighters and they think, oh, these gladiators, there's no way that these are human beings, man. When I say that, it's like y'all can't see past the flesh. Y'all size queens, no diddy. Like This is a motherfucker with eyeballs and brains. Like picture that shit. You know how people look through and see the skeleton, like with X-ray vision. Everybody's the same. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all have hormones. We all have fears. We all have happiness. We all have all that stuff. And nature designed us to run away from shit and not and avoid a conflict or you know what I mean. So with that being said, this is what I think about Tony. You know what I mean? I want my cousin. I wish he was up here so I can get his opinion about him, but I'm gonna just give it without him, and I'll give it whenever he joined one day, if he ever joined. But I feel like that situation showed me that, you know, people want it for other people really, really badly, sometimes desperately too bad, and you can't want it for nobody, especially when you gotta assume their doubts. See, you can't assume that, oh man, this guy's a gladiator. He's this, he's that. Because one thing I know about him, he was a real nasty guy. My cousin told me he would be working the bag. He'd come in and tell him, like, get off the bag. It's, you know what I mean? Try to be really aggressive to him. He'd just be looking at him like I'm a light heavyweight. Like, bitch, you underneath. You know? Are you pulling Are you pulling rank with your star power? Or are you just trying to debo me off the bag with your skill? Like, which is it? Which is it? You know? Which is which? But it showed me that human beings are human beings, because in his moment that he was supposed to be who he was, he chose to try to take a woman. What Tyson say? I ain't trying to take that bitch chastity. You know, for those of you who are not familiar with the story, I'm in San Antonio now. My people are in San Antonio. I have a cousin who boxed with Tony Aliala and Joe Sousa and those guys. Tony is a guy who was promising. He was during the time, El Torito was his name. If you type him in on the internet, he got some fights. He was supposed to be one of those guys, right? So, you know, they got the four kings, then they got the outskirts of the kings, like the Wilfred Benitez. He probably was going to be on the outskirts. A lot of people thought he might be in the talks of it because he was in line to fight these guys. And what happened was, you know, he got in some trouble and his daddy swept it up on the rig because his daddy was making a lot of money, you know, off of him. And swept it up under the rug. Well, it was an SA charge, you know, it was an SA charge. Then he gets out of jail, he gets out of trouble and does it again.
Oh, man.
He was a repeat offender. He did it like at least 3 times.
Like Miskell, another guy that just can't get right, but he's like that.
Oh, but Miskell's a drug addict. See, Tony did drugs too as well. But I think it was a complete pie chart, a combination of things. I think that the moment was too big for him. I think that boxing didn't choose him. His daddy chose boxing for him, you know. And I think that he didn't believe that he could beat no fucking Roberto Durant or no Sugar Ray Leonard. And he wasn't willing to sacrifice what those guys was willing to sacrifice. He would rather get out and perform essay on a woman, which he knows is wrong, and get in trouble and go to jail because that's the easier route. Because if fighters leave with potential and question marks, people will always overrate them. That's the history of boxing. Edwin Valerio, fucking Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner gonna be 70 years old in a wheelchair. They're gonna be like, man, AB got a chance at a title shot if he just let them hands go. You know, fucking, and he knows that. He knows if you leave it up to the imagination, people will rate you based off your potential. So what do? You do some shit like, you know, like, let me go fuck up and do something I know is intentionally wrong to go to jail so I don't have to face what I got to face. I can't go up to these fights. I can't show up. I'm in jail. It's easy to do that type of shit. You know, I remember like when I was younger, Teddy Atlas went to go work with the Jets. You ever seen this? All positive. And this is why I know Teddy Atlas is one of the best trainers in the game. He wanted to go train with the Jets because his son was like a recruiter for the Jets or some shit. And his Eric Mangini was the coach at the time for the Jets. And he's from New York too, a fellow New Yorker. So it was an easy transition. But he got Teddy Atlas to come train his team. And I remember watching the clips on YouTube, and I remember Teddy was saying something, and it was like, damn, bro, how does dude know this shit? He don't even play football. But Teddy was like, you know, basically like, you're down there, you know, and you ain't forget the count. You know the count. But the longer that you're down there, your mind starts to drift, and you're tired and you're fatigued, And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're jumping off sides. And I was like, bro, he's not lying. I've done that before in football. And I know if I've done it and he was able to see, to pinpoint that out about me, I ain't the only one guilty of that. It's a bunch of them that do that, especially on a professional level. How do you forget the fucking count? Been doing this shit since you was been pee-wee football. You know the goddamn count. But they brain trick them. They trick themselves. And if their brain will drift and they'll trick themselves on a professional level at an older age, then that lets me know that Tony being abused by his daddy, you know what I mean? Allegedly somebody in the family had abused him as well. So he got those things, and then being actually having success in his career, being pushed into the limelight. I just think it was too much for him. I think that he was drowning in fucking pressure, and he did what people do when they drown in pressure and they don't want to face it. They find a way not to face it, so you won't know what they're doing.
So are you claiming that he purposely went to prison to keep from doing that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why I say that, I'm positive. He was on the cusp, and his daddy had enough money to cover up these events, which means at that time he probably was making a guap. Why not just pay for some pussy? You know, there's some prostitutes out there who will role play with you just you seem to like to want to take it.
It ain't about that though, man. It ain't about that with guys that do this. About the power.
Yeah, it's about control. But even then, all positive. You know, the person that he tried to perform essay on was in his self-defense class.
Yeah. Yep.
When I tell you that's the craziest shit I've ever heard of.
Yeah, this the whole thing is, whole thing is crazy. Yeah, and the same thing, Ika Beabuchi, man. You know what I'm saying? There's no dude that has problems.
So I'll positive. Fill me in on him. I've never looked at any documentary on Ika Beabuchi. I just know he
there
was.
Ain't no documentaries on him. Look, Ika Beabuchi.
Positive. Hold up. Before you start, brother, you should be the first to do the documentary.
No, man, ain't got time for that.
Why not?
I ain't got time for that, man.
That's the beauty of it. I grab a dog and I choke him, kick the shit out. No, not just play, but you should do it.
Nah, I'm good on that. Because nobody would watch.
Are you fucking serious? I definitely will watch it. Like you just said.
Boxing fans will watch, but
listen, man. Listen. All positive.
Somebody made a comment and said, we can thank Ika Beabuchi for Lennox Lewis being considered an all-time great. because he went to prison. We never got to saw him rule the heavyweights, man. Ika Beabuchi was a monster. He was got to be dealt with. And Ika Beabuchi, what they did, they ain't doing what these guys doing today. Like, it was 3 up and coming contenders who was seen like to be the future of the boxing: Ika Beabuchi, Chris Bird, and David Tua. He fought David Tua in the summer of '97. That was on Boxing After Dark. HBO used to have a Boxing After Dark series which fights are really better than what we got now on the pay-per-view. But I remember the first Boxing After Dark card. I think it was Kurogati on that. It was like '95, the very first Boxing After Dark card. But Boxing After Dark always preview like the up and coming guys. So for Ika Beabuchi, he was an up and coming heavyweight contender because at the time, Tyson's got a prison. Tyson Holyfield got a second. Got a second win when he beat Tyson. Lennox Lewis was climbing his way back to the top. He had just got the belt back by beating what's his name? Oliver McCall. He got DQ'd. So Ika Beabuchi and David Tua were gonna seen as the 2 top heavyweights within the future. And these 2 guys, 2 undefeated guys, not even 20 fights, fought each other the summer of '97. Close decision, could have went either way. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they gave the decision to Ika Beabuchi. He had a few more fights. I'm not sure how many, 2 or 3 fights, whatever. Then early a couple years later, I think it was 90. I want to say it was 98. He fought 90 or 99, 1 or 2. He fought Chris Bird. And he knocks Chris Bird out. I don't know, because Chris Bird had never even really lost a round up to that point. He was like Roy Jones. He had never even lost a round up to that point. And he fought Ika Beabuchi, started losing round. And Ika Beabuchi caught him with the hooker cut in the 5th round. He got up, knocked him back down, and the referee stopped the fight. I'm like, everybody's thinking like, yo, he knocked out Chris Bird, a guy, and he lost a round. So he was like, yo, this guy's gonna be the future of the division. This is like 99. Man, after that, this dude, a few months later, whatever, he up here caught an SA charge like that. You know what I'm saying? Woman and stuff in his room, hotel, whatever, man. They say rest is history. He did about 15 years before he got released, whatever. And now we got to see the rise of the Klitschko.
I know boxing said 99. Well, hold up, all positive. For those who ain't familiar with the story, brother, go into details, man. It's the no spin zone over here. I don't know what happened. I just know he had charges. He went on the show before, on somebody's show. He called in and he explained why they was bullshit, but I don't know what the charges are.
Yo, it was like he like attacked. I don't know if it was a SA assault or whatever, but it was like an escort. So he had her in his hotel room, and it's like from what the news I heard at the time, and it was in the boxing. I still had the boxing magazines, and like he attacked her and all that stuff, man. And then she was like fought him off, whatever she did to him, and and then he eventually he got arrested for that, and then he entered a plea deal, whatever, and and they say the rest is history, man. He got tried and got convicted. He had like 15 years in prison. The career just wasted. He was gonna be the future of the division, man, because they was talking about him fighting Holyfield. Him and Holyfield, they knew each other. You know what I'm saying? He's like Holyfield's my brother. He's like, how you talk, like Holyfield's my brother in Christ. I would fight Holyfield. I was like, man, Ika Beabuchi was a scary guy, man.
He would have fucked Holyfield up.
Because after that, you think about Chris Bird went on to win the IBF Heavyweight Championship, and David Tua still went on to become top contender. Because David Tua, after he lost to him, he fought Hasim Rockman, and he gave Hasim Rockman his first loss. He gave Hasim Rockman his first loss. If I'm correct, first or second, what was it? Mascot? Yeah, he gave Hasim Rockman his first loss, and then it's crazy, man. I hate what happened to Beabuchi because he could have really been something special, but I think you can't stop them demons, man. Them demons is a mother boy.
You believe he did it?
Yeah, of course. He did that.
Whoa. All positive. When I swerved in that corner, whoa. Why you think he did it, brother?
He did that, man. He did that, man.
Wait, hold up. Is this like some R. Kelly tape shit?
It was too much. It was too much evidence. No, the girl wasn't young or anything, but it was too much evidence against him, man. It was too much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So did they deport it? They deported him, right?
I don't know if he got deported. You know what I'm saying?
I think he got deported. Because in the interview, he's not in America. Because Ika Beabuchi was supposed to have another fight. I don't know what happened with that fight.
Yeah, man.
He was supposed to.
No more. I don't want to see him in the ring now.
I agree.
Yeah, because that's over 27 years, man. His last fight was Chris Bird. It was like 99. I don't want to see this man in the ring, but yeah, it's not just the Ayala and the Beabuchi. There's a lot of stories like that. There's another guy. You can't even find many fights of this guy on YouTube, but there was a guy I was high on named Angel Vasquez. You spell Angel, but Angel Vasquez at 126. I thought he was going to be the future of the division. At the time, Prince Nassim was like one of the top fighters at 126 because Eric Morales and them hadn't got to 126 yet. So Prince Nassim was one of the top fighters at 126. He was beating all the guys, and he beat Kevin Kelly. And I'm like, Angel Vasquez is going to rule this division. Then all of a sudden, this guy, he goes away. He goes away for like a few years. Comes back 2003 or 4. And you can probably look it up on BoxRec. We had a fight on Friday Night Fights, and I'm getting hyped. I'm like, okay, I used to watch this guy in the 90s. He's coming back 2003 or 4 because something about his girlfriend stabbed him or whatever, or he was away for a while, whatever. He comes back in the fight, man. He's fighting this guy. He takes a knee during the fight, and the referee counter, he just gets up and walks out of the ring. And I haven't seen or heard from him since. But he was gonna be another one of those guys like the future boxing, man. It's like it just there's so many stories of guys that was gonna do great things and would have done great things, and I guess they let the outside stuff get the best of them. So you got to give props to anybody that keep their head straight and stay in boxing. Don't let the outside stuff, outside world interfere with their career.
I agree because I listen. I know I'm amongst historians, but sometimes the historians can be taught too. All positive. I bet you to know this. Ika Beabuchi's brother is the guy Monster from Boys in the Hood, the one that said I could play a little baseball. You know, I used to play a little baseball. That's Ika Beabuchi. Nah, I'm just playing. They got that same part though. They got that same part in their head.
Yeah, he got from Nigeria. I like KB. Yeah, man. It's just I hate to see stuff like that, man. These guys, man, just ruin their opportunities, ruin their chances, man.
What's good, Echo?
Yeah, there's like Len Bias and all these guys, man. Len Bias got a connection to my city, my area. You know, Len Bias from DC, but he got a connection to my area because his high school, his college teammate was Keith Gatlin. Keith Gatlin's dad taught at my high school, Mr. Gatlin. He's calling Pop. And I knew Mr. Gatlin's, I knew his family. I knew his brother and sister. I later did some work with them. I'm friends with his brother and sister. Keith Gatlin's aunt and uncle. They both recently passed away as well. But Keith Gatlin, he could have went to the NBA, but after that Len Bias thing, none of them guys went to, because Keith Gatlin played ball here at D.H. Conley. And because Len Bias at the time used to come here and barnstorm. I don't know if y'all know what barnstorming is, but it's like when all the guys, the new recruits, the guys from the ACC, when the draft would come up, they would come and play ball in the area here, just go to different gyms, and they would play ball in the area here. And everybody used to barnstorm around here in Greenville as well. That was like in '86, whatever, and in summer leagues and all that, because Keith Gatlin would bring him here. So that really not only hurt DC, but that hurt this area as well, because Len Bias dying of that overdose, that made sure that Keith Gatlin was never going to go to the pros either. So so. Oh no! I'm not trying to take Len Bias. I know he's from DC. I'm telling you that he's y'all guy. He's not our guy, but I'm saying his college teammate was Keith Gatlin. Keith Gatlin's from here, and he used to bring Len Bias here. He used to barnstorm here as well. He used to bring him here. Yeah, because like I said, that really messed Keith Gatlin up when that happened. And I know his family, like Mr. Gatlin, he passed away from cancer. It was 96. Mr. Gatlin. And like I said, his brother and sister, which would be Keith Gatlin's aunt and uncle, they passed away around 2021, I believe. Yeah, I knew them personally. Yeah, he's y'all guy. He's not our guy, but I'm just saying he used to come here.
I know Boxer Alpo, y'all guy too. Yo, DC, son. DC. That's where it's at. DC, son.
Yeah, but I just, man, like I said, man, I commend anybody that keeps their head on straight. Like Adrian Broner, he was given too much too soon. And that's why he never reached his full potential.
Some would say that he did. 4-time division champion.
Yeah, 4-time division. But
AB to me is just like Tony. They leave a back door open, like Tank with his hair excuse. I don't think he thought about it that day in the ring. I think it was something that's been in his mind. If I ever get caught or struggle, I'm gonna blame it on my hair. Like they be having built-in excuses. I feel like that's the same thing with AB. AB used to always play the hood dude. If he just focused, he would let his hands go, and everybody felt for it. But he's probably the biggest con in boxing. Even whenever he does fight a guy, like I remember when he fought what was that dude's name? I think it was Reese, Gavin Reese.
Gavin Reese, yeah.
That was a good fight, and AB won, in my opinion. Now y'all gotta go back and look at this fight. Gavin Reese would get, the referee kept telling him about I can't remember what he was wanting for. It was some type of foul, but he would stop and when he stopped, Adrian Broner caught him with an uppercut, and that's kind of what got him being distracted with the referee. But other than that, man, like AB, that's why he would try to say, well, you got two versions of AB. You got AB at a lightweight, and that AB is unstoppable. Nobody could beat me but AB. Like, bro, what the fuck? Why you keep talking in riddles, bro? Like bro, stop it, bro. So AB definitely lived up to his potential. I think he was never really supposed to be anything. And I think the fact that we even talking about him shows that, he maximized, but he's just like every other human being, every other fighter. People will avoid shit. I'll give you a prime example. Have you ever been on an elevator? I'll give you one of the most awkward places in the fucking world. Elevators. You're in the metal. You're in the metal. The idea of the metal closing and, everybody going to different floors. Have you ever looked at your fucking phone knowing that even though the motherfucker ain't gonna work in the elevator, still look at your phone? It's because
I never tried it.
Have you did any distraction to avoid a conversation?
No, I just, I like to I do like to have conversations with people. I like to do it because at the VA here, we only got 2 floors at the VA here in Greenwood when I go to appointment. So if I'm on the second floor, I don't feel like taking the stairs down. So we'll get on the second floor. We'll get on the second floor elevator, and I'll tell somebody like 1. It's like a running joke because there's only 1 floor you can go to. So it'll strike up a conversation. But yeah, I'm social with people. You're muted.
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say, nah, man, all positive. You done did this before, man. So like people do this all the time. I see a whole family at the restaurant I used to work at, and everybody on the table be on their phones. Like they don't like the awkward silence. They don't like awkward feelings. They don't like none of that stuff. It's like, bro, that's a part of fucking life. You can't get past awkward fucking feelings. That's one reason why people ain't got conversation, mainly males. That's why women be going and doing what they doing behind their back on the male people, because they don't be having conversations for them. They can't stimulate their mind. Like they end up talking about some shit. They don't like they're not comfortable with the silence. You know what I mean? So they have to be speaking about some bullshit, and then they make everything sexually and what a woman should do. And if I wake you up at 2 a.m, would you make me a sound? All kind of stupid ass shit. So dudes don't be having conversations for women. Conversation is basically, you know what I mean? We should I'm gonna write a book called The Death of Conversation. And I'm gonna talk about social media. I'm gonna talk about how, I'm gonna even interview people for it, and say, what do you say when somebody do this? And have you ever approached a girl about like courting her? They're probably gonna say no. I approach women online through Tinder. I swipe right. That's how I court them. It's just a different time that we live in. But I was bringing all of that up to say that we're humans. We all got similar experiences. That's in the high majority of stuff. So Tony, I felt like, the pressure was too big for him, and he did what he knew would get him caught and sent away, which was essay. It's a shame that he's passed, so he can't tell us yes or no. But I guarantee that's had a lot to do with it.
Scholar, you said Tony. Which Tony?
Tony Ali Allah.
Oh, Tony Ayala. Yeah, he was in prison. Yeah. He fought ex Camacho. He did.
I'm not sure if he fought Hector.
He did in May the 9th, 2009.
Oh, I thought you told me before he went to the prison.
He fought his son as well.
Yeah. Not before.
He fought Camacho as well. He fought De La Hoya in 2009 as well in May.
You know what?
Not
and he fought Obakar as well.
No, you're talking about
your boy Campos.
Jesse
Sorry,
James.
I'm talking about Campos.
I'm
talking about your boy Campos. Sorry, because you fought. Yeah, I'm sorry. So I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah, you got him mixed up. Yeah, you got him mixed up. Yeah, because Campos actually, Campos had beat him.
He fought Ayala in 2000. Sorry.
Yeah, but he was washed. He was washed by then. So
He had a ball spot, like a knee brace, like he was out of it.
He used to spit on the opponents when they were down. I remember that.
I told you, Alfonso. I told you.
Yeah.
Motherfucker was a dirty motherfucker. Yeah,
he knocked
he
them
was spit on
down.
his
He
opponents.
spat on them when they were on the floor.
Yep. I want to say, help me out on this, Echo. Didn't he fight Danny Little Red Lopez?
You mean the guy that what's his name fought? Sanchez. That was Sanchez that fought Danny Lopez.
Okay, yeah, okay. So then it wasn't him. It wasn't him then.
Yeah,
I'm getting them mixed up.
That's
Salvador.
Salvador Sanchez won the title from.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I'm getting them mixed up. It was Salvador. I can't remember what guy he fought, but I watched it on film because he don't have a bunch of fights online on YouTube. Tony.
Yeah.
But in this fight, he he gets knocked down and embarrassed by this guy. And this guy was supposed to be like a bum. And the guy knocks him down and embarrasses him. And then he gets up and knocks the guy out and spits on him when he knocks him out.
But he only had about 20 fights. So
yeah. And like I said, he was
and he was in prison as well, wasn't he? Well, you know. I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I mean.
And I said that's why I know Scholar's not impressed with, but I was impressed by him able to hang with those guys, even getting now because he had some wins. They did line up guys that he could beat, but the fact that he was able to hang with a lot of other guys after getting out of prison, man, and that was impressive. After all those years, and that was a Friday. If I'm correct, that was a Friday night fight. That was on ESPN.
Yeah, he was in the Ring magazine. They were saying that he did things like spitting on people and stuff. They actually said that in the magazine. Wasted career, really.
Man had the whole world at his fingertips, and he chose to do something that he did not have to do. He could have paid for it. He could have did Ika Beabuchi. You know what I mean? Nah, not Ika Beabuchi, but you get what I'm saying.
Like I said, his whole thing was, I think it was an escort. I don't know the full details because, like I said, it's been.
Yo, Echo, you familiar with what happened with Ike? What's the? No details.
It was something about he this prostitute that he didn't pay her and he was trying to hold her hostage, something like that. It was a hostage situation. Whatever happened.
He was in prison and he was released because he was I think it was 500 grand or something like that, and then it was he was going to kill himself in prison and he got out. He was going to commit suicide. He was. That's why he was released.
Interesting. You know what? I ain't gonna lie. With Ika Beabuchi situation, I never got the sense that it was too much pressure on him. Tony, yes, because he was a repeated offender. You know, did that a bunch. You know, like, and he knew the consequence. It's like, bro, when you do it and you get caught for it, like, why not hide it? You know, like most people do who are ashamed of shit like that. They hide it. Like when I watch How to Catch a Predator, it'd be the same motherfucker on 3 episodes getting caught, trying to be on some incognito shit. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't a person with money do what Diddy did and all these other people who do, which is mask it with the money? His daddy's paying for him to get out of trouble. You know, they're sweeping up under the rug repeatedly, you know, which is crazy because the victims must have been poor that he was attacked because they were settling out of court like a motherfucker, you know? And it's like, okay, well, you throw money at it. Why not just wait till you're a superstar and start having Diddy parties?
He did pay 500 grand though. He did.
Yeah, he paid a bunch of money. His daddy paid a bunch of money.
500,000 and he was released because they thought he was going to commit suicide. Because he had lost his mind.
No. I was talking about Tony.
Tony. Oh, right. He was. Yeah. He was in there for the bad thing, wasn't he? Yeah.
Because honestly,
that was a waste of a career. That was, to be honest.
Honestly, with and this is just me speculating, of course. With with Ika Beabuchi, I think Ika Beabuchi really has psychological damage from boxing.
Man, his fight with David Tua, because you think David Tua was knocking out everybody.
Yes.
And he went toe to toe with David Tua. Matter of fact, they set the CompuBox record for punches thrown in the heavyweight fight at the time, because they didn't have CompuBox with Ali and Frazier, but this was the CompuBox record with them.
That was an amazing fight. That was really, really good fight.
Either way, but they gave it to Beabuchi. I wasn't mad at it.
Well, what we know about a CTE and stuff now, I'm willing to bet if there's a family member out there, they would confirm that he probably had his change, like personality change, a little bit after that fight with David Tua.
David Tua hit hard, man, and a guy to be able to stand up to him for 12 rounds is crazy.
Yeah, what's his name? He said that he was the president. Kept saying he was the president.
Yeah, that's his name, nickname, the president.
The president of the world, not a president of America, but the president of the world. He goes, I'm not the president of America, but maybe the world. He lost it by then.
You're absolutely right, Echo. That is some incoherent, just fucking concussed bullshit, like CTE, like Antonio Brown shit. Yeah, I'm looking at the two and judging the situations. It's not that I'm giving Ike a pass, but I just think that he might have had a bunch of, fighting in heavyweight, like All Positive says, setting a heavyweight record, like with a devastating puncher. David Tua was putting people in comas, Yeah, I mean, Lennox Lewis was like looking like Shakur versus De Los Santos whenever he fought.
Tua.
Yeah,
Tua. Because Tua could fucking bang. They knew, don't let Tua get nowhere near that chin. It's over.
That left hook was really good.
You want to know something crazy? This how you know Tua's a cold motherfucker and punch hard. The heavyweight division, and this is the craziest part about it, like he left the game when he probably could have ruled. That's the silliest shit in the world. Like Tua went and then lost to Lennox Lewis, and then, stayed around, had a couple more fights, and then ended up retiring. And it's like, if he would have stayed in that era on the cusp of like post Lennox Lewis, that Vlad, he would have been champion.
Yeah.
Layman Brewster knocked out Vlad.
Yeah.
I could easily see Tua doing the same thing.
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, Tua is really good fighter. He'd be champion today easily.
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, but this is what I was going to say. So he retired and then he came back. He came back and fought up because the heavyweight division was fucking ass at this time. I want to say James Thompson was fighting. He was even washed up, and he was a guy that Mayor Stewart gave a bunch of credit to him, but he was washed up at this point. That's how you know boxing it went from worse to worse, as far as talent and the people who was there. Malik Scott was even. Boxing was in such a bad state. I have this shit on film. Larry Merchant and those guys said that Chris Areola is the next American prospect and that he is comparable to Riddick Bowe. I bullshit you not. They said Riddick Bowe.
That's delusional.
Shit, yes.
Riddick Bowe was a great fighter. There's a difference.
Yes, and they were saying this shit on national TV. It'd be different if he called it in a text message. Then you can say, oh, maybe he trolling. They said this shit on national TV. But yeah, that's how trash the heavyweight division was. But David Tua came back and fought this dude called, what was the dude's name? Monty Barrett? Shit like that.
Yo, I got it. Go ahead. I'm gonna tell you a story about Monty Barrett, but go ahead.
So Monty Barrett is fighting with David Tua in the ring, and David Tua almost beats him. He knocks him down. He barely gets up and win the fight. And I was like, he was testifying. He said David Tua was a dangerous fight. He thought because he was sitting on the couch that it was going to be an easy fight. But he said David Tua is a hard fucking puncher, and he see why everybody feared him.
Okay, a few things about Monte Barrett. Y'all don't remember? Y'all remember a heavyweight named Joe Messi?
Joe Messi.
early 2000s.
Nah, that don't sound familiar.
He was a big prospect. He was supposed to be the next great thing, but he fought Monte Barrett, and he knocked Monte Barrett down. Monte Barrett got up and knocked him down. And I thought the fight was enough to give the fight a draw, but they gave the fight to Joe Messi. So then Joe Messi fights Vasily Girov, and Girov basically ends his career. Even though he got the win, but Girov basically caused brain damage. He was beating him so bad. And he's not known as a good puncher, but Monte Barrett started that. But the thing about Monte Barrett, if you look up Monte Barrett, look at his profile on Wikipedia or whatever, and you hear him in interviews, he always shouting out Queens or wherever he shout out, Queens, Brooklyn, whatever. Monte Barrett's from Greenville, North Carolina. He's from this city. He's from here. And the reason I know that is because I followed Monte Barrett when he was coming out. I used to International Boxing Digest. I used to get him every month. And I remember seeing him in International Boxing Digest. I'm like, dang, we got a fighter from Greenville here. I don't know this guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the Exxon on 10th Street one day. It was like 96 or 97. I'm in the Exxon on 10th Street, and this lady, she's talking to somebody, and she's like, I ain't gonna be at this store long. She's like, my boy about to sign a contract. He gonna get me up out of this store. So I'm talking to him, who's your son? She's like, my son Monte Barrett. I'm like, for real? Like, did nobody know? I'm like, yeah, I read about him in the magazine. I didn't know. So what was he sound like? He was going in the detail. He was signing. He was like, yeah, my baby, get me up out of here. I ain't gonna be in this store long. So eventually, Monte Barrett, he was fighting on ESPN, HBO, all these things. But yeah, it killed me that Monte Barrett was claiming New York when he's from Greenville, and it always bothered me. Yeah, he's from here. That is a true story. His mother used to work at the 10th Street Exxon station on 10th Street here.
We got that Monte Bear exclusive, brother. You know what's funny? He got derailed by guess who derailed his career?
Who?
Luis Ortiz, old ass.
Oh, yeah, because Monte Barrett was getting beat by a lot of guys, but he did upset Owen Beck because Owen Beck was an up and coming contender, and Monte Barrett basically beat him, upset him. And I thought he beat Joe Messi, but yeah, guys like Klitschko's and what's the big 7-foot heavyweight that they robbed Holyfield against?
Valia.
Who?
Valia. The guy that David Hay beat for the title.
Yeah, David Hay beat him. Yeah, he brutally knocked out Monte Barrett. He brutally knocked him out, man. And yeah, but Monte Barrett, he was. I think he had decent skills, but yeah. Yeah, these skills fighter, but yeah, I think even in this era heavyweight, I think Monte Barrett will be a tough. I think he's better than Big Baby. That's my opinion. He's definitely better than Big Baby, but he's just in the wrong era, man. Even though the Klitschko era, that was better than this era.
Yeah, if you're born in the wrong era, a lot of people that didn't have a title back in 80s, 90s would have one now.
Yeah,
sure.
Everybody's got a title now, man.
Yeah,
because there was only two in the early '80s. There was only 2 titles.
Yeah.
And Larry Holmes solidified the IBF because he gave up the WBC and he solidified the IBF. That's when the IBF became a major title, and they start trickling down in other weight classes. And they start, because when a new title gets introduced, they're not introduced across the platform in all weight classes. It's always just start with one fighter and then they start trickling down to other weight classes.
I think the first one was Murray Sutherland and Ernie Singletree. That was the first time. 84. That was November 30th, 84. That was the first, what do you call it? Super middleweight IBF.
Yeah. Because super middleweight was still, there was still a newer division because a lot of people, they're like, why didn't Marvin Hagler go to 168? I'm like, well, he was ruling 160. He could have beat those guys at 68. It wouldn't have been a problem. And he wouldn't have beat Michael Spinks at 175. Then Michael Spinks would have because he's just too small for Michael Spinks. But yeah, he would have beat those guys at 68. But he just won the rule 160.
Yeah, 15-pound jump it would have been, wouldn't it?
And it was same day weigh-in still, so in a lot of areas. So
yeah.
It would have been pretty bad for him.
A lot of advantage to Spinks or anybody else.
Pause. You should see if you can get Monty on the show.
Man, I don't know where Monte is right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember Lake Ellsworth is a place. It was a new subdivision out here in the late '90s, and someone told me like he was looking to buy a house out in Lake Ellsworth. I don't know how true that was, but I've never seen Monte Barrett in the city. So maybe he did move to New York full time, but I've never seen him in the city.
That's crazy.
And Greenville's not that big. It's not that big. It's just we got a lot of people here because of the university. I think population is like 100,000, but we're not like as far as square miles. Kinston's a bigger city than us. That's a city over. You know, you got Greenville, Winterville, Aiden, Kinston. Kinston is Stackhouse, Brandon Ingram, Cedric Maxwell. Those guys in the NBA. Reggie Bullock. They're from Kinston.
Yo, my goal today that I had set individually was for 3 a.m. So we coming up on 3, man, and I'm over here dozing off. My bad. It's been a long day, man. I've been up since 6 a.m., man, grinding today, and then I had to cram this assignment. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little sleepy, but I'm gonna try to pull out 2 lives a day. If God willing, let me knock on wood right now. I'm gonna try to do a boxing, maybe 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Maybe if all positive free pull up, because that's whenever our mind was at. That's what we was cooking earlier any goddamn way. Do some reactionary videos, and then I want to come back later that night and do the non-boxing talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm gonna try to do 2 lives tomorrow. Long story short, I'm gonna do a boxing live, and then I'm gonna do a hybrid live where it's a little bit of boxing, but it's gonna be current events and stuff to react to and try to get more people engaged. You know what I mean?
Okay. No, carry on. It's okay.
Before we go home, I just remember something. We talking about Monte Barrett. I know y'all probably don't remember this, but I think it was. I can't find it anywhere on YouTube, but I remember when it happened, and I heard about it. I never seen it, but I think it was 2003 or 4. Monte Barrett on The Price is Right.
That's
and
hilarious.
I missed the episode.
So his girlfriend did all that. She was basically what's that girl from Rosie Perez from White Man Can't Jump?
What?
Billy's gonna make it. You watch. Billy's gonna do this for me. Billy's gonna do that for me. Billy didn't do shit. She had to win the money on Jeopardy.
Yeah, I cannot find. I don't even know if it's somewhere. I haven't looked for it in years, but I remember I used to look for it and I stopped looking for it. But I remember he was on The Price. The reason why I know it because I remember I seen Rockman gave an interview about it. He was laughing at it. He was like, "What is Monte Barrett doing on The Price is Right?" And we was on the boxing forums and everybody talking about. I missed it that day. It was like Monte Barrett on The Price is Right, and I still to this day have never seen that episode.
Yeah,
somebody will have it.
Yeah, somebody's probably got. I haven't looked for it on YouTube.
Louis Ortiz.
YouTube.
You got
it's probably somebody. If I dig deep enough, you can find it.
I think the advantage you guys had that a lot of the fights that you're talking about, they didn't come to UK. They didn't. Many of the fights I've mentioned, I had to watch them on video or something like that. So, because I used to buy lots of videos from collectors as well.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Yeah, because
I had mine on Betamax. That was like the original format.
And that's what because what country are you in?
I'm in England.
Yeah, so that we have 6 or 7 boxing magazines. Like Boxing, World Boxing, KO, Ring Magazine.
We had KO and Ring. Yeah, we had KO and Ring.
And my favorite was International Boxing Digest because they would cover all the fights around the world. And I've told Scarlett about this before. Like, I would always look up fighters like that was doing like knocking a lot of people out and fighters that was interesting and covering them here, like Prince Nassim. I found out about Prince Nassim through International Boxing Digest, and then in the back of the magazines they had like people addresses and phone numbers you could trade tapes or buy tapes from.
Yeah,
I was getting Prince Nassim fights before he came to America, and anybody heard of him here in America. So, like I said, and that's how that was my introduction to him. And then he finally fought here in America for the first time. And he fought Kevin Kelly in December '97.
Yeah. I used to buy the same as you. I used to buy from somebody, but he would ask, sometimes that you do like correspondence, and he'd say, "Who do you want to watch?" And I'd just say, "Roy Jones, send all the tapes," or whatever. And he'd do that, and I'd do that with a lot of the great fighters. I would do that.
Yeah,
but then I could buy individual fights as well. It would be a series of 20 fights on a tape. Sometimes there'd be short ones and long ones, or whatever. But I'd be ordering maybe 10 tapes at some point.
God damn.
Yeah, because that's how it would be, man. Like if you missed a fight,
like
I tell you missed a fight, you might not see that fight till 2 or 3 years later. If you wait for a replay, like I didn't see Hagler Hearns until like 88. When I saw the full fight. I didn't see it. It happened in 85. I didn't see it till like 88.
I didn't watch that at all. I heard that on the radio.
Yeah.
That was April 5th, 85. Yeah. That was.
Yeah.
I listened to that on the radio, and I was trying to imagine the fight. It was. Like you get them visions of what's happening. He's wobbled him, whatever. He got him on the ropes. And then it got shown about maybe 2 days later on the TV. It did, but it wasn't. I didn't watch it live or anything on the radio.
People in our area, so. I like to get my aunt or somebody. My aunt had a boyfriend who always recorded fights. So that's how I saw not Tyson, but Douglas versus Holyfield. Because he recorded. And that's how I went to their house and I saw that because he was a big boxing fan, so that helped me. And and there's a lot of times like, we didn't have if you had cable and you didn't get the pay-per-view. Because by the time we got cable in our area, I was a teenager. So you didn't get the pay-per-view. You can listen to the fight. The screen will be scrambled, but you can actually hear the fight. And,
so like the radio then.
Yeah, like the radio. and I would hear the fights,
you might as well put on the radio then.
Like I said, y'all got these young guys and they don't know how good they got it, man. Like you can just pull up a link and look at the fights. Well, man, we had to listen to even the wrestling pay-per-views. I've had to listen to the wrestling pay-per-views.
We didn't have no cable back in them days. We just had TV.
I didn't get cable.
We only had BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, and Channel 4. And every weekend on Saturdays it used to be played. I never watched the Duran and Hagler fight live. That I watched, that wasn't a live fight either. That was recorded. Same as the Hagler and Hearns. That was recorded, after I watched that later. Hearns and Duran, I saw that 2 days later. So you guys are lucky really to watch those great fights live.
Yeah, man.
We were a bit behind back in them days, for sure.
I don't miss. I love the 80s. I love the 90s. Growing up in that era, but I don't miss missing the fights, man. Because Mike Tyson fights were expensive. It was only like $25, but $25 is a lot of money back in 80, 87, 88. For look at the Tyson fight, he's gonna knock somebody out in the first 1 or 2 rounds. That was a lot of money.
Yeah, I paid £20 to watch him fight Lewis. But a lot of the times we got those fights, we watched those fights, but we'd have to stay up late in the morning, later. We were watching those fights 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Then they go out and knock the guy out in 1 round or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay. But he'd fought about 15, 20 times before we even saw him in the UK.
Yeah.
Because he had 15 fights his first year.
Because when he won his title.
Burbank, yeah.
Yeah, I was telling my wife about an episode, and I just found that episode, and I seen it for the first time in almost 40 years. It was there was a show called Webster. They used to come on here back in the 80s. And Mike Tyson was on the episode of Webster. It was I remember seeing I was a kid. It was 86 or 87. I remember seeing it, and it was an episode where Webster spilled orange juice because his foster dad had got an autographed glove from Tyson. He had spilled orange juice on the glove, so he had to sneak in the gym to try to get Tyson to re-sign the glove. And like Tyson, he just won the title. He was up and coming guy. He just won the title. He was real big. And I seen that episode again for the first time in almost 40 years, man. I found it. Yeah, I was happy to see that.
You're lucky to get that, really, to be honest, because a lot of people didn't tape stuff.
Yeah,
not too many people. But I've got Super 8 footage of Robinson's documentary. Dark lights, bright lights, dark shadows. I've got Skill, Brains and Guts Ali documentary, which is a great documentary, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some of those. I've even got stuff from America, like the Monsters and Laurel and Hardy and stuff on Super 8 when I was a kid. I've always been collecting stuff like that. But boxing stuff back in the 80s for UK or England was difficult because it was always on later.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Yeah, because y'all the time difference and all that stuff.
Yeah, we were behind. We had to listen to Reg Guttridge give us a commentary, which he always did a good job. But when most of the fights we watched, the replay, not too many live ones. So you guys are lucky, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Scholar, man, I'm about to head out, man. Finish this thing, man. Go and eat something again. Nice talking to you, man. Love you.
Okay, Scholar, I'm going to go as well. I'm going to go for a walk now and just walk off my breakfast. So
yeah, all right, man.
I'll catch everybody later.
Yes. Right, see you later.
My bad. I done dozed off over here, man. Let me go ahead and end it, man. I ain't got no energy, brother. My bad.
Yeah. You should go if you've been up too long, man.
Yeah, I'll catch y'all later on the day, man. I appreciate y'all pulling up. Always all positive and echo. Y'all great minds in boxing, man. We'll be back. Okay.
Hopefully. It's got positive. Take it easy. Bye.
All right, everybody. We appreciate y'all, man. I'm just tired of motherfucker. I'll be back. I'm gonna try to do a double hitter today later on. I'm gonna try. No guarantees, but I'm definitely coming back. But I want to come back twice for old time's sake. But I'm finna get some rest right now because I gotta be right back up in 3 hours. You know what I mean, to start my day again, and I'm gonna be exhausted if I stay up tonight. So I can't stay up tonight. But appreciate for everybody for coming up, tuning in and rocking with your boy. But anyway, I'm out.